Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay, indeed. God damn it, yes.
So fun.
My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Westman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. God, are we excited? I can't tell you how excited we are for this week because this is this is one of the most fun episodes I've ever put together where I'm like, we're going to have so much fun with this episode because it is batshit crazy.
Right.
And it's a sport we don't know, which is always fun. It's a crazy one. Before we get to that, couple of things. First of all, want to announce to you guys a couple of dates quickly.
Yes.
Just want to announce, obviously, December 14th, Chicago, Illinois at Lincoln Hall. Get your tickets now. Please pack that place. Let's sell this thing out and let's show these venues that you guys are willing to go see stuff that you like,
right?
And you don't need Bruce,
right?
Or whatever.
Whatever the fuck they put in that
whatever
place.
Shit magician they put in or ventriloquist or something.
Fuck.
Get the things you like. So please do that. That's insanely helpful. And now we have some new dates here. February the 18th, as we announced last week, but February the 18th, Boston, Massachusetts. We are coming for you, Boston. Laugh Boston. We will be there February the 18th. Two shows. Crime and Sports is the early show.
Yep.
Small Town Murder is the late show.
4 p.m. and 7 p.m.
Absolutely. We'll post links to all of this on both our social media and in the show description here. So you can just click on it. Come out. Let's pack Boston. That's going to be a blast.
Yes.
We can't wait. We're coming to the East Coast in winter. Cut us some slack and buy some tickets, guys.
Yeah.
And also, Detroit.
2 days before that.
Detroit, February the 16th. Detroit, Michigan. We will be there not doing podcasts.
Right.
Well, not at the moment.
Right.
We will be doing stand-up.
There's a stipulation to this.
There's a stipulation. We're going to be doing stand-up with Dan Cummins. Dan Cummins is going to be headlining of the fabulous Time Suck podcast.
Correct.
And we're also going to be on the show. It's the three of us.
At Magic Bag.
At the Magic Bag in in Detroit, Michigan.
Right.
Sorry, Detroit. And so you guys buy those tickets, please, because we have to sell. Apparently, it's not our deal. We don't make the deals, but Dan has informed us that if we sell a good amount of tickets in the first 4 weeks here that this show is for sale, that we will add another show that evening that will not be stand-up.
Right.
It will be a podcast of the three of us doing a very special kind of a hybrid thing that's going to be amazing and
it's
so much fun. So please, you got to buy the tickets for one to get the other, though. Please do that.
We want to be transparent with you guys. You guys have given us so much,
so we're
and
be
you guys
honest.
have been fantastic to us.
We need that show to sell, or else that's not going to happen.
That's what the deal is. If we sell that show enough, then they'll add the other show. So,
other two. Doesn't matter. Podcast, buy tickets.
Yeah. We're going to be in Boston and Chicago. And Detroit, we're going to be there.
We're going to be there, too, and probably on our own later on in the year. And we're going to be, guys, we've heard from all you, and we know we're going to be New York. We've got Philly on the list.
Florida wants us.
Atlanta, Seattle. Dallas, I think, too. We have a bunch on the list.
So many people want us.
Minneapolis, I saw. So we have a bunch that we're going to try to get to. But never mind that. Guys, thank you guys this much for your iTunes reviews this week. Thank you, honestly. You guys blow us away with that. Yeah. Your support is so appreciated. It really is.
Incredible.
It's incredible. And those iTunes reviews really drive us up the chart. And on a business end, they're pretty damn nice to have, and they really, really do a lot for us. And they make us feel pretty good, too.
Truly.
You guys would take the time to do that.
You go look at a podcast, and you see that it has very few reviews.
You're
like, I'm not going to give that a shot.
Exactly. The
reviews. You guys have really come through, and thank you so much.
Yeah, we're getting a really respectable level of reviews where we look like we're doing amazing. So thank you guys. We appreciate that so much. Also, if you need to do a little bit more, and God, we appreciate this even more, you can go to patreon.com/crime and sports.
That's the one.
You can make a donation there, and we are so thankful. I can't even get the words out of how thankful we are for every penny that you guys give us, honestly. You can also go to PayPal, and you can make a one-time donation using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. And that, too. Every bit counts. We are blown away by it, honestly. When you guys give us $1, we don't sit there and go, oh, what are we going to do with $1? We literally go, I can't, that person, that's amazing. Like, we're both like that. We really feel that. James texted me, did you see that we got another one? We got another one. It's amazing, guys. It's amazing. And thank you, guys. And if you want to join the fun, you can do Crime and Sports or at Crime and Sports on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Find us everywhere. Our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. If you want to drop us a line, you can do all of that. But never mind all that shit, Jimmy. Okay. Never mind all of that. We have something very special today. We are going to do a new sport. We're going across the world. We're going down under. Going to Australia this week.
Wonderful. I've missed it
check out an Australian rules football player.
Oh, shit.
This is our third trek over to the other side here. We did Evangelos Gousis. We did Kelly Lane.
Yes.
And this is number 3, I believe, in Australia.
Probably.
And I've had a lot of fun in the Australian episodes because you guys got a funny ass culture, and I love it, man.
It's beautiful.
You guys are cool and crazy, and I really enjoy it. Sure, that too. Why not?
It is. It's the whole. Everything just makes me think of Nicole Kidman.
Well,
it's all just fucking beautiful.
Jesus, she can't even go out in the sun, that girl. She's burn up like a. So
let's. Right. I'll lather her up.
Let's talk about somebody. You want to talk about somebody sexy? I got somebody sexy for you. It's Benjamin Luke Cousins. Ben Cousins. Have you heard of Ben Cousins? Just people.
I've gotten so many emails about this guy.
Yes, we have gotten a lot. And I found this guy like a year ago, and he
keeps fucking up.
He was still percolating. You know what I mean? He was marinating. He wasn't ripe yet. He's ripe now, boy. It's good shit. So Ben Cousins, Australian rules football, of which we'll get into that. I won't get too much into it because there's honestly so much crime. We don't have time for a lot of sport exploring this week.
I knew he was a fuck up.
We will go into it a little bit, enough to sound like idiots and have you guys laugh at us, and we'll do that for you because I'm sure any Australian rules football fans have waited for us to sound like idiots about their sport.
It's all footy.
Oh, God. The number of times I have heard and read the word footy in the past fucking week, I want to break both of my footies because I can't take it anymore. I can't take the word footy anymore.
It is a silly word.
Footy, and it's like, stop saying that. It drives me nuts.
Going to the footy.
Oh, my God. And the game's the footy, the sport's footy, the ball's a footy. It's all footy. It's all footy. It's like Smurf. It's a universal word for them. There's footy. Can I have a glass of footy? And they go, yeah, sure. And
here's
they know that's what you mean. Yeah, here's some footy.
That'll be 37 footy.
So here you go. Hold on. I got it in my footy. Wait a minute. Let me pull that money out for you. Ridiculous. Ben is born June 30th, 1978.
Okay.
He is born in, I'm going to say this wrong, right off the bat. Let's do it. He's born in, I don't know if it's Geelong or Geelong, Victoria. I'm going to go with Geelong. It's Geelong.
G-E-E?
Yeah, G-E-E.
It's got to be Geelong.
I'm going to go with but I don't know. Victoria.
It might be Geelong.
God damn it. I don't know. He didn't play for that team, so I didn't get to hear their pronunciation.
I'm sure I could write to several people right now and
they would know. But you know what?
It's much more fun.
Let's be wrong for 2 hours, Jimmy. I like that much better.
Victoria, it's just there on the southeast side of Australia. It's beautiful down there.
It's nice. That's a nice country down there.
The Gold
We've looked at that. That's true. We've looked at that stuff from Small Town Murder. We know all about Australian. I know how many.
I love it.
How many provinces you have. It's broken up into, was it 6 or 7 states?
There are 6.
6, but then Tasmania's in there too. It's never.
You got New Zealand up there.
We're way off base. Okay. He's born in Victoria. He's 5'10", 172. So this is what's funny too about Australian rules football. I used to watch it when I was a kid. Because it was on ESPN constantly. Like in the late 80s, just like at 2 in the afternoon, you turn it on, it was Australian rules football.
Because it's like 7 a.m. there.
Well, it's just on all the time because they needed programming and they'd fill it with shit. It was like a tractor pull followed by, Aussie football here.
Yeah.
And then you'd get, middle of the night, if I woke up at 2 in the morning and turned on the TV, it'd be the Australian rules football there. So I watched the fuck out of it. Yeah. I've probably watched, and I'm being honest, conservatively, 100 hours of Australian rules football in my life. Like,
that's pretty incredible.
Maybe even more. I really used to watch it all the time. I was just a sports junkie when I was a little kid. And if there's no American sports on at 2 in the morning. So I'm like, okay.
And this time of year, it gets pretty bleak. I mean, you got basketball just starting up. but and football's it's damn near over.
This summer, their sport, their Australian rules football is played in their winter, which is our summer.
Okay.
As they call our winter summer.
Right. Well, because that's what it is.
January summer to them, and then this is a winter sport.
Right.
Their winter, our summer.
Right.
That's when it's played. The championships in September.
Got it.
So that's how that works here. But as I'm watching this as a kid, watch 100 to 150 hours of it. I have never figured it out at all. I still have no fucking idea what they're doing. This is what it looks like to me, okay? And then we'll get into Ben Cousins here.
Okay.
This is what the sport looks like, and I know that we'll find I have some rules and shit, but it looks like a bunch of white guys, and everybody's white. That's the other thing. When you watch this, it's remarkable. You go, wow, one NFL running back would have
obliterate all these fucks.
18 times the stats any of these guys have at all. Just blowing through people, thighs the size of tree trunks, just running a 4.3. These are they're like Ben Cousins, and they're like, what an athlete. And I'm like, that guy he couldn't play on the practice squad for any NFL team in at all. Any professional sports team.
They do the Aboriginal games too, though, with this, right? With Australian rules football?
You're asking the wrong guy.
So it's just Aboriginal people and then stars of this shit too.
But I will say too, there's not a lot of people in Australia. Yeah. Australia is not a 350 million person country, so it's really not their fault. They only have a limited amount of people to choose from.
Okay.
So I guess that's what it is. And most of them are white. It's a very white country. The English went there, and nobody really has sailed down that direction.
And even some of the fucking black people look white. Some of the Aboriginals look like white people. It's true. It's crazy.
Ben was born in Geelong, like we said, Geelong, whatever it is. His parents are Stephanie and Brian.
Okay.
Brian Cousins is a very well-known...
That sounded terrible, saying the fucking black people. Really,
I got what you were saying.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the Bill Burr joke.
Right.
It's fucking Asians.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it was, yeah.
It's stuck in my head and struck me as like, dude, you sound like a dick right now.
These fucking black people over there. I don't like the way they look. Let me tell you right now.
They're a little too white for my taste.
They're not black enough for me.
I like to be able to pick my blacks out.
I like my blacks black, okay? I like them black. That's how it is. Don't milk up my black.
What an asshole I sound like.
You caught your mistake, and we know what you meant.
And I just wanted to make sure that didn't linger out there so that people are listening going, are you going to address that, fuckface?
Wow, he's a real
dick,
this guy.
Whoa, Jimmy, take it easy.
Take it easy. Good God. What the hell is wrong with it, Jimmy? He's on one today.
Fucking black people.
Jesus. Somebody fuck his sister, or what happened? What's going on here? Jimmy's got some deep-seated shit that I didn't know anything about. Good
Holy
God.
Christ. All right, let's move on.
So his father, Brian, played for Geelong, their football team. His dad's very famous. His dad is a well-known football player.
Okay.
So he grew up in the football environment. All he ever cared about was football. He went to the matches with his dad. We'll get into the whole deal.
This is a Ken Griffey Jr. goes to crime kind of
It's
thing?
kind of a thing. If Ken Griffey Jr. was a complete fucking disaster, that's what you'd end up with here. When Ben was 18 months old, their family moved to Perth. Okay. Moved over to Perth. I guess they were originally from there.
On the other side of the fucking
world. Side, going over to the
Jesus,
West Coast.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too. We've had people say, why don't you guys come to Australia? We're like, oh, calm down. Where?
Yeah, right.
Come to Perth. Come to Sydney. Those are way far away from each other.
We're going to have to put one right in the fucking middle.
We're going to have to pick one of those cities, and you guys can make it. It's a shorter distance from Perth to Sydney than it is from Phoenix to Sydney. So work it out for us eventually.
There's no power in that fucking center of the country.
No. We'll set up a PA in the middle of the desert. We don't give a shit. We're not picky. We're good people here. So
announce it through one of those fucking buzz fucking horns, whatever that's called.
A bullhorn, we got a bullhorn.
What's that thing called?
What?
The Australian bullhorn. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Jesus, I don't know.
I
forget.
I forget.
No idea what it's called.
Right now, there's people in Australia going,
I know exactly
this asshole.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and we'll know by the time you hear this. So don't tweet it at us. Thank you. I have to say that every time. People go, we'll know. Trust me. We'll get it. Because we'll probably Google it. And if not...
Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo.
Bang!
I was going to say...
What? I didn't even Google that.
A diddler poo. One of those there. So he's raised... He has younger siblings. He's the oldest of four.
Okay.
It's Matthew, Sophie, and Melanie are his youngest siblings. Like we said, his mother is Brian. His
mother is Brian?
His mother is Stephanie. His father is Brian. His mother's she's a stout woman. Stout woman, nice mustache on her. She takes no shit from anybody. Eastern European, you know how that goes. She's very, very strong.
So much hair in her armpits, it looks like she's smuggling a squirrel.
That's the one right there. Brian actually was a champion for one of his teams won the championship when he played. Okay. So that affords you some amount of fame. His father said, quote, "Footy is very much a family game, and he also wanted to go to footy every time I was going." And he explains he wanted to going to go play, he calls it going to footy, right, which is hilarious.
Nobody says, well, I guess people say going to basketball.
I don't think you'd say.
I say I take my son to swim, but I also say I take him to his swim meet. I take him to swim at night, but he's actually swimming. He's not footying.
I don't get it. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a weird.
It's bizarre.
It's a Smurf.
I'm not taking my son to basketball. I'm taking him to play basketball.
It's a Swiss Army knife word.
Right,
that's all it is. That's all it is.
He's using the screwdriver at this moment.
That's all, man. Brian explained that Ben would hang out with the players every time he went, and he would kind of fit right in. He'd be around kicking a ball around or jumping on somebody's back or do all of that. His mother says he is 100% like crazy for everything he does. If he was into He-Man, he's going to be the most into He-Man of everything, and he's going to be the best He-Man collector there is. And if he's into footy, he's going to be he's going to practice, and it's all he's going to do.
Like nobody's ever footied.
No one's ever footied. He's got a very addictive personality when it comes to anything, good things and bad things, which is going to bite him in the ass later. For now, it's great.
Good thing you never sucked a cock, huh?
That's right. Oh, boy, forget it. For now, it's just work ethic. You're like, this is great. Look at this kid go, We have it in their own words here.
All right.
Let's get an in their own Australian words with no accent, I promise. In their own words, quote, "I look back now and I realize probably what a nuisance I was to the players. Always had a footy in my hand, and I think probably developed a lot of the game and formed the intention of wanting to play at an elite level at that age, watching my dad play."
Weird.
So there you go. Always got a footy in my hand, which sounds like a severed foot is in his hand, and he's playing with it like a psychopath. In 1989, he appears on an AFL commercial in Australian football. He appears in a commercial. He's just this little kind of blondish kid, a little kind of chubby face. He's like, what is he, 10 at that point? Yeah. He's it's just touting the greatness of the game. Oh, you come to the footy and blah, blah, blah. Jesus. And as he says footy about 600 times. And then he says, you can do this, you can be part of the action, and he says, you can even win a new footy. Oh. And he holds up like this footy, and he says, quote, "When you go to state league games, you'll be part of the action. You'll get to listen to the coaches. You'll get to indistinguishable Australian." I don't know what he said. It was some very Australian word. That's the other thing here is so many interviews. It is so fucking hard to understand what the hell some of these people are saying, especially when he's high on ice or fucking shit-faced. Very difficult to understand what he's talking about. Spoiler alert, he gets high on ice a lot, so we got that happening for you here. So,
well, they talk really fucking fast, too.
They talk really fast, and they say and they say constantly. Yeah, it's like it's a weird fucking thing that they do, and it's
also like when I talk to I've talked to Busby on the phone before, and I say that again like all the time.
Yeah, it's hard, and Busby's is pretty clear too. It's a clear thing, but his is pretty clear. But like I said, when there's certain, it's hard. But I couldn't understand what the hell he said. He was talking fast, and it's some indistinguishable shit. He says, and you can even win a new footy. The best part is you get to play around a little, and that's the thing here. Mother said he was a straight A student because he wanted to be good at school, so straight A. Addictive personality, throws himself in with reckless abandon, crazy person with everything he does. Father here, Brian, says that football was everything for Ben. The practice, the games, it's all he wanted to do. His only goal in life was play Australian rules football, doesn't give a shit. That's it. Single focus. Much like these kids that play tennis or the kids that play hockey or these younger sports where the kids start playing pro when they're 16 and something, like that's you have to be like that, and that's what he's all about. And a lot of his younger life I got out of the documentary that was on Australian TV. They did a 2-part documentary on him.
How long ago?
2010.
Oh.
They don't have any of this shit.
None of it.
There's just there's some of it, and then we get to the crazy part. Like, you think, end of the documentary, you're like, wow, that's crazy. And then you're like, he didn't even start being crazy yet. That's practically pre-Grace, for Christ's sake. Like, that's way back there. So, yeah, these I don't know what it is, but these kids really have to feed their something. There's need for this shit. I think the countries need more ways to get famous. Maybe that'll help. There's like 2 ways to be famous, probably.
That'd be
it's
helpful.
Like,
yeah,
maybe if like here you could be a
fucking anything,
and you can be
it's
famous.
Ridiculous.
Look at us. We're practical. People know who we are. That's sad.
Dude, I got
nobody.
I got a text message from my wife's friend.
Oh, you're saying that.
Her fucking uncle. She was telling her uncle that she was going to come to. That we were coming to Chicago, and that there was because we're bringing a podcast there, and he was like, "I listened to this podcast," and she was like, "That's the one," and he lost his fucking mind.
That's so funny.
He's a riverboat captain up there, so if you're listening,
that's crazy and funny.
We're coming to see you.
There's not a lot of riverboat captains out there in the world.
There's a riverboat captain that listens to us.
You know, there's a union, and there's like 12 of them.
Yeah.
The riverboat captain union. You know there has to be because there's just not enough of them.
And he's in the Midwest. So he's coming to hang out.
Nice. I love it.
I love it.
Now, let's talk about the Australian rules football, okay? Yeah. Like I said, I watched it a ton as a kid. I never understood a fucking drop of it. It appears like several dozen, I don't know how many, but tons of them, just a sea of white people with no pads on, wearing soccer, essentially look like soccer uniforms, are running around. They're kind of lateraling and tossing this ball all around as they go.
They can kick it too, right?
Well, that's what we'll get to. Yeah, okay. They're tackling the shit out of each other too. All this is just guys falling and ball going up. It's muddy and a mess. It looks like a disaster, like some second grade game of Kill the Carrier. And then at some point in this big,
is that what your school made you guys call that?
That's what I'm calling it now, so we don't get a bunch of tweets. That's what That's what
because I knew you were going with that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna,
just so everybody knows. That's called smear the something.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's what it was called in 1990.
And then James's school made him call it Kill the Carrier.
No, my school they call it shit because I grew up in fucking elementary school in New York in the late 80s. They were like, exactly. So, no, but we know now that that's not really the best thing to say, so we're not going to say that. I almost said it, too. I almost was like, hey, boom, I was like, wait, reverted
what
to fourth grade again. And
what game is that? I've never heard of that game.
So that's what it looks like, a game of Kill the Carrier, where at some point...
That is the most... I hate it. I hate that we're doing that, but whatever.
We're doing it now as a joke to dance around it. If I really cared, I'd say and go, that's what we called it. Fuck off. If you don't like it, go ahead and tweet me. I'll tell you to go fuck yourself. I don't care. I thought it was funnier to dance at one point there, I'm like, fuck it, let's dance around this. We could have a ball with this shit. So, which I think is more offensive, but it'll be deemed less offensive. So everybody fuck off. I don't even know. You want to tweet me for that or you want to tweet me for that? Which one is it? Fuck, I don't even know anymore. My head is fucking spinning. So anyway, this giant mess of a game, and then at some point, somebody runs 4 feet from the pile and just frantically kicks it like a punt, like drops it and kicks it and tries to, I believe, kick it through a very narrow arena league football level, narrow of uprights. Right. And if it goes through, a man in a suit that looks like Don Fanucci from The Godfather Part 2, looks like he's walking around trying to wet his beak with a fedora and a white suit on, will put 2 hands down, fingers very... And I swear the guy was smoking back then. I swear he had a cigarette out of his mouth. Yeah, just 2 fingers like pointing down, very sternly, like that's something. And then they all run around and cheer. That's what I saw. But I don't know if the goal is... I don't know if there's another goal because there looks like there's like an end zone. I don't understand this fucking game at all.
I think there's a point to run across a line, and that gets you 6 points, right?
Okay. Well, I don't know. I think we're really let's find out. I have it right here. Why don't we look? Why don't we look at this right here? First of all, the length of the game is
ridiculous.
They don't have a set length of shit.
Yeah.
This is what my problem with soccer too.
Stop it.
Pick a fucking length that you're going to play and then make it in that parameter.
And then when you have extra time, how about we all know how long that's going to be?
Well, this
and
is
there's not just a clock that's going, and it's like counting up, too. It's like, what number are we waiting for?
This is soccer, rugby, and American football mashed up into one ungodly fucking... horrific. But it's pretty crazy. It looked entertaining because they're knocking into each other. It's pretty crazy. So it says
they're the ones that call. It's not rugby that calls American football pussies. It's these guys.
Yeah,
because these guys are fucking.
These guys
lunatic.
wouldn't last 4 seconds in an American football game. You could put twice as much pads on them. They're 5'10", 170-pound white guys. You call them pussies all you want.
Yeah,
you
Ken
get tackled,
Norton will tackle you and
me,
explode you at the age he is now.
You get tackled by a fucking 6 foot 6'5", 290-pound man that runs a 4.5 40. Tell you what, you get tackled by him and then tell me that it's a pussy sport. Tell me you don't need pads at that point. You will be wearing you'll be engulfed in Nerf in 5 seconds if that happened. Wow. So it says the length of
Tell Joe Namath and who's the other fuck that played for the Redskins?
Theismann.
Tell Theismann that this is a pussy sport.
Exactly. Jesus Christ. Although these guys, I don't know how they're not just constantly concussed though, because their heads are there and they're diving into it, knocking heads and shit.
They're concussed.
It's crazy. So it says the length of Australian football can vary from league to league, but it is generally around 15 to 25 minutes per quarter.
Okay.
Generally. In the AFL, each quarter runs for 20 minutes plus time on, which makes up for time occupied in the stoppages, such as when the ball goes out of bounds. How about stop the clock when it goes out of bounds, pick it back up when it goes back in? What the fuck are we doing?
Do they have such limited technology the clock doesn't have a stop button?
No, it's just very casual. Yeah. There's like a lot at stake here. People are betting on this shit. Make it right. Yeah. Like you can't just say it went out of bounds for about this time and I'll store that in my head and I'll add that on to the other couple times that happened. I'll just give a random number at the end and
now
go,
the ref
6 minutes, go.
Now the ref that's got to know
what the fuck?
The rules of the sport and keep an eye on the sport. Now he's got to be a mathematician and keep track of minutes and fucking seconds.
Dude, it's nuts. A typical AFL quarter might run from 27 to 33 minutes, but Jimmy, maybe even longer if, for instance, injuries cause delays. So what if someone's out there for 20 minutes? What is that? AFL breaks after the first and third quarters are 6 minutes with a 20-minute break at halftime. So a game averages about 2.5 hours.
That's in a rule book somewhere.
No, it's in this rule book where I found it.
They might be. There's no rule in any sport in America that has might in it.
No, this might happen. Who knows? It's like this happens. If this doesn't happen, you add 2 seconds to that. It's very... Football is so regimented.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, if you call a timeout and you don't have any in the last 2 minutes of the quarter, then you have a 10-second runoff, and it's like, or an injury that's not... Right. They have even to 10 seconds they got it down to. Nope, you're getting 10 seconds less because it all comes down to shit.
Game can't end on a defensive penalty.
Can't end on a defensive penalty.
It's crazy.
There's tons of crazy rules. Here they're just like, nah, just run around.
Fucking willy-nilly.
You guys run
Let's
into
go.
each other. That's fine. Everybody's white out there. Just have a good time. Yeah. That's what they're doing, I feel like. It's one of those. Like,
white people and their white privilege.
It's all good. Yeah, it's a sports white privilege.
We'll play until somebody wins. Go.
It says, like other codes of football, the way to score points is to score goals. Okay? There's 2 types of scores, a goal and a behind. Okay? There's 4 posts at the end of each ground. 2 in the middle. The 2 middle taller posts are the goal posts, and the 2 outer ones are the behind posts. Okay, that makes sense. You have like a...
So there is no line to get across.
I think it's in the middle of the smaller one or the bigger one. Okay. It's like a 2-pointer and a 3-pointer in basketball, I feel like we have going on here. The area between the goal posts is the goal. Kicking the ball between these posts scores a goal, which is worth 6 points. There you go.
There's
so it's
the
like
6.
American football there. Kicking the ball between a goal and the behind post scores a behind, which constitutes a single point.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now we're talking. This makes sense now. I got that. Why didn't I ever get that when I was a kid? And I knew that from reading it before, but I'm exploring it with you guys. Let's do this here. A goal or umpire judges, they're the ones that judge whether the goal is a goal or behind.
Right.
And that's your Don Fanucci pointing guy with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. So they have that here. Let's get into this here. Okay. Let's get into his life and his times and his insanity here. 1995, this is his last year at Wellesley. It's a school. He's recruited to join the East Fremantle Football Club's senior side in the West Coast Australian Football League.
Okay, and that's in Perth.
That's in Perth over there. I don't know if it's in Perth. We'll find out. He played for both the school and East Fremantle throughout the season. I think that is in Perth.
He's busy.
So he played for both. All he cares about is football. He's into it. The Western Australian Football League is based in Perth. It's the 3rd most popular league in the country.
How about that?
So that tells you it's kind of the C League, basically. It's the minors, kind of. You go there, and then you try to catch on with a better team.
First fucking league. That's pretty good.
Yeah. While he's still at school, 3 of the AFL teams competed to draft him.
Wow.
Under the father-son rule, because his father played for those teams.
Gotcha.
The father-son rule is a rule that allows clubs preferential recruiting access to the sons of players who have made a major past contribution to the team in AFL. The rule is first established in like the late 40s, and they keep defining it and redefining money. But because of his dad, you get like it's almost like college in America.
It's
like
union nepotism.
It's nepotism. Yeah. It's what's it called? Legacy.
Yeah,
you're like legacy, so they can draft you, and they should just be honest and do that here too, because here they love former players. Kids.
Fucking love it.
They love them because
there's a kid playing football right now who's never mind. You'd have to Google it. Forget it. His uncle played in the NBA.
Mind. I don't know any of the facts. I just saw a story. I don't know anything about it.
Google it. It's a great story.
So, top-notch podcasting, Jimmy. I have a story. Let me give you the vaguest of details that aren't honestly
There's
even really Googleable.
There's a guy that plays
honestly.
a sport and his uncle plays another sport.
Google
it's fucking
that.
Great.
It's a great story. Go ahead and find it. It's out there, I promise.
He's a kicker.
Oh, that helps. That's closer. Oh man,
his uncle was His uncle was great. His uncle was an all-star in the NBA.
Interesting.
It's a fucking weird last name, like Vanderwegen, like Kiki.
Yeah, like Kiki,
Vanderweg.
The ex-Nick here.
Right.
It was the G or Gee. Everyone's going to be pissed about that. Long Football Club and the West Coast Eagles and the newly formed Fremantle Football Club were all after him. His father actually played 238 games. In the WAFL, and then 67 games for Geelong. Mm-hmm. So his father played a long time.
You don't ever put a W. I don't care if it. I realize that it means Western, but you never put a W in front of any. That means zero viewership in America.
Yeah, that means we expect it to be 6'7" women running around and slowly.
Right.
So no offense, WNBA, but goddamn it, that shit's unwatchable as fuck. Oof. I get it. Good for you. Good job. You guys are great players and all that.
Enjoy it.
I can't watch
that.
Enjoy
it while it
lasts. Wow. Well, actually, it's subsidized by the NBA.
So it's always going to be around.
It's never made. It doesn't make profit.
It doesn't make profit at all.
Seen it at WNBA?
Yeah.
800 people in the stands. I don't know what they're paying those women.
That's why I always wondered how it still comes around. The NBA makes it happen.
Yeah, they want it. It's good for them. They like it.
Is it good for them?
They're trying to get women into.
I guess it is good for them.
They're trying to get young girls into the sport.
Yeah, but it's also if we fold, that's your fucking alternative.
Yeah, that's what you got. Be careful.
You better come to our games, fuckers.
No shit,
what
man.
What a threat.
That's great, man. Geelong's, God damn it. Geelong, this is really going to drive me nuts. Geelong's recruiting manager.
We got to pick one and agree on it. I'm into it.
Geelong.
There it is.
Geelong recruiting manager.
I can't wait.
It's totally wrong. Stephen Wells said, quote, Ben barracked with Geelong and we tried everything to get him here. However, Cousins preferred to remain based in Western Australia and chose West Coast in October 1995. So he goes to the West Coast Eagles.
Okay.
That's his team, and his father played for the West Coast Eagles. West Coast Eagles, they have him now. In his first game, he kicks 2 goals.
Oh.
So he gets 2 goals, so I assume those are the 6 pointers.
12 points on the board.
Those are the 6. Yeah, there you go. Those are the 6 pointers. We know that. Now, in the Australian league, as we know, whenever we have a new league, I like to go over the names of teams because they're usually very amusing. And
the ridiculous ones.
Yeah, so we have the Adelaide Crows, the Brisbane Lions, the Carlton Blues, what the fuck? The Collingwood Magpies.
Ridiculous.
That is absolutely the most Australian name I've ever heard. The Collingwood Magpies. Jesus Christ. The Essendon.
Can you hear an Australian person say those 2 words together?
Yes,
that's horrible. Magpies. Magpies.
Oh, big
Gonna
time.
watch some Magpies. Gonna drink some beer. You should get some.
We were going to offend them enough. Thank you. Let's be nice here.
You're gonna get so pissed.
The Essendon Bombers, the Fremantle Dockers, the Geelong Cats, the Gold Coast Suns, the Greater Western Sydney Giants.
Jesus.
That's very specific. The Hawthorn Hawks. I believe that's the Melbourne Demons, the North Melbourne Kangaroos, Port Adelaide Power, Richmond Tigers, St Kilda Saints, the Sydney Swans, the West Coast Eagles, and the Western Bulldogs. I don't know what the hell.
The Western Bulldogs?
That's what it says. Western Bulldogs, but I think that's got to be just the Western Bulldogs. Let's just do that. I probably put that down wrong. So he's in here. He's playing.
Yeah.
He's having a good time, obviously. Good God, he's playing Australian rules football. Yeah. It's his life dream, Jimmy. It's his life dream in 1996. I have his stats. Let's try to decipher these. He played in 20 games. He had 34 goals. Oh. He had 15 Bs, which are behinds, which are the one-pointers, so that's good here. He had 170 kicks. He had 106 handballs, which I don't know what that is at all. 276 disposals, which Oh, I don't know. That's a lot of disposals. I feel like that's
great.
That's really good because you can. I don't know.
What if that's a bad thing?
After you scored, you have to get rid of the ball like a body. You have to deflate it and like chop it up into pieces and put it in a little box.
Great in this league.
Oh, he'd be the best. He'd be the best here. His average is 1.7 goals a game, so that seems good.
Yeah,
that seems good. You're averaging almost 12 points a game, and behind kicks you're averaging almost 1, so you're averaging like 12, 13 points a game. That seems pretty goddamn impressive in my opinion here.
I'm in.
I know nothing about it, but it seems impressive. I'd be happy to get those numbers over there. Also, while he's doing that, he's 17 years old, by the way, playing professional AFL, which is...
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
I wasn't professional at anything at 17.
And playing well, too. It's not even like a basketball kid that they draft at 18 and they sit him down for 3 years.
Right.
Like, he's in there playing.
He's doing it.
But it's all he cares about. It's all he's been training for. Mm-hmm. He's the engine, basically. Like, no one plays as hard as him in that way. Also begins taking drugs at 17.
Oh, yes.
Begins his recreational drug habit, which is... good God, plagues him forever. Let's get it in their own words on his drug use here. In their own words, quote, I started using recreational illicit drugs when I was 17 or 18. Actually, he said 17 or 18. They don't use a T at all.
It's a D.
So, quote, I started using recreational illicit drugs when I was 17 or 18. I was taking drugs regularly and hard. I may have been predisposed to this world before I even picked up a drug, and from that very first time, it just opened up a gateway for me that very quickly, if not instantly, became an obsession. I was a heavy drug taker, but I was also a highly functional drug addict. So that's what he...
that's nice.
Yeah, because what he explains, too, later on is he explains that he's not a guy who's like Marvin Barnes sniffing coke on the bench or something like that. Day of the game, day before the game.
Never touches it.
Doesn't touch a fucking thing. It's his reward.
He does it for fun.
It's his reward.
Yeah.
His thing is, I can't do it for a month because I got tests and I got games and all that. But, man, when that month is over, oh, boy, am I going on a fucking bender.
He's like Chris Farley right before a movie.
He's like, I am going to go on such a bender. Yeah, he's like, exactly, like a fat actor. The same, like a fat guy actor. Like,
he's
shit,
He's got to get approved for that insurance.
Yeah.
So he's got to be clean for that. But once this movie's over, watch the fuck out.
That's what he does. Right. He's like, and if I play well enough, the better I play, the more drugs I can have because I deserve it. That's my reward.
He clearly didn't see what happened to Chris Farley.
No, I doubt he did. Although his age, he should be a Chris Farley fan.
He should definitely be very well aware.
Definitely. But... oh, man, do people love him.
Yeah.
His dad's a player.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking guy, too.
I was going to say, I think he's handsome,
He's a real handsome cat, you know what I mean? He's cut up, he's handsome, charismatic, athletic, really good player.
Ugh.
They call him a sponsor's dream, is what they say. Their West Coast team's marketing manager, Ross Nichols, said, quote, he's easily the most sought-after Eagle. No player was or is as popular as Ben. His appeal is so diverse. Kids want his autograph and photograph. Sponsors want him to sit next to them. They want to push their product. If Ben's well managed, the sky's the limit for him. They've got to find the balance between his commercial potential and his contribution to the community. The club offers protection, but it's up to Ben what demands he pushes under himself.
Okay.
So he can do anything he wants. The world is his oyster. He can be the biggest charity guy in the world. He can be the biggest commercials pitch man in the world, or in Australia, either way. But that's what they're saying.
He can be the sham wow guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you, man. They have to. He's charismatic. He's Jimmy, if you saw this guy in an apron, you would, I'm telling you, forget about it. You would jump on him.
Soft tug all over it.
Soft tugging all over. So those numbers for his rookie season seemed pretty damn good. Yeah, I don't know compared to anybody else, but they seemed good. Yeah. Good enough to win the Norwich Rising Star Award, which is their Rookie of the Year. Yeah. It's their best player after their first season. So, that's good. So he's the best rookie, known as the hardest worker on the team. The announcers, everybody, the writers, they all call him a generational talent.
How about this?
So he's like, they're saying he's going to be one of the best players in the league. He's not a
he's not a schlub.
Not a schlub. He's not a second-tier guy. Right. He's not play for 5 years. Yeah. He's a guy who should be famous over there and a legend and a Hall of Famer forever. Right. But in addition to being but, there's a very large but with that. And that but is filled with ecstasy, meth, coke, pills, ice, booze.
What a vacation.
Anything he can get his fucking hands on. Likes his uppers a lot, but he also likes his Valium. But, that sounds like
you got to come down at some point.
That's the thing. He lives like a professional wrestler in the 80s, this guy.
I love it.
He lives like that.
Fucking roller coaster.
Got to take uppers to get up and get on the plane. Oh, shit, it's been a long day. I need my painkillers, my muscle relaxers. I got to get to sleep, so I better take my sleeping pills. Oh, shit, I got to be up at 5. Better take those uppers again. Woo-wee, okay. That's the type of life he's leading.
Fuck that life.
And he just takes off for football in between all of that. He says cocaine was his drug of choice.
Yeah.
But Valium was also very huge for him.
Listen, I don't blame him. That Valium is pretty fucking amazing.
He also says, he's like, and there's also a place and a time for ecstasy or ice or whatever. He literally said that. He said, there's a place and a time for this, but not every day. He's like, look, I know when there's a place and time. But
that's hilarious.
Coke every day, obviously, but ecstasy and good meth.
Sometimes you got to be around people. You can't be rolling.
He says he needed it to balance out his obsessive training. Yeah. He's like, I needed something to then balance my side. Up, train. I need to do crack. Right. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? 2001 season.
Am I crazy?
What, am I nuts? What the fuck's wrong with you? 2001 season, he's made captain of the West Coast Eagles at age 22.
Jesus.
Which is super young, and like people are, all the media are like, oh, I don't know if that's, can't have a kid that young being, the captain, but he's the prodigal son, so it doesn't matter. Like,
what were you doing at 22? That's not what I was doing.
Not captaining a professional team of any point in my time.
I was in nightclubs trying to get laid and not successfully.
Not unsuccessfully getting laid.
100% unsuccessful and terrible at it.
Now, I'm looking at his stats here, and over the course of his career, like 2001, he had 15 goals. Like, his rookie season, he had the most goals of any of his other seasons.
Yeah.
But a lot of behinds, and I don't know what else he was doing. See, that's the thing. I don't know the intricacies of the game to know whether he, is good at doing some shit that doesn't show up in stats.
Does he have some amazing move, like a crossover or some shit?
Or is there a stat here that I don't understand means a lot, but it's like rebounding? You know what I mean? In basketball, it's really fucking important.
Steals or some
shit. Something like that. What are D's again? Disposals. He led the league in disposals in 2001 with 600.
That could be a bad thing, though. You know what I mean?
I don't know. He had 600 of them in 22 games, which seems like...
That seems like a lot.
I should be able to know what a disposal is, because if he did it 600 times in 22 games, seems like if you watched him for 5 minutes, he'd be doing it 5-6 times.
That sounds like a steal or something, pulling the ball away from the opposing team.
Maybe it means getting the ball cleanly and then getting it to somebody else. Maybe that's a disposal.
That sounds, a good pass.
Without getting it taken from you at all. Maybe that's what it is, like an assist, but the guy doesn't have to score. Maybe it's just we're making up a game now. I just made it. Tell you what, let's go out in the parking lot when we're done here, Jimmy, and we'll play this new game. I just was like a 10-year-old that had a yard with a couple of weird obstacles and was like, I got a wiffle bat and a kickball. Let's make up a game. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
It's called dispose of the ball.
That's what it's called, disposal. Let's do it. It's totally weird here. So also he had a drug counselor later that also says that he had a reward thing with the drugs. That was his reward. He's the captain, and he says...
That's amazing. You did a great job today. Here's an ecstasy tab.
Well, he says it like this. He says that he'd train all week or for however long there was matches, obsessively practice, never stop, be the most hardworking guy on the team, all with the knowledge that at the end of that time he was going to, quote, completely annihilate myself with drugs. Absolutely annihilate and launch into as much drugs as I could. That's his quote.
Fucking crazy.
That's his quote. I will stuff anything into my body. I do not care. Put it up my nose, jam it in my ass. I don't give a fuck.
That's crazy.
Wow, another thing. We have a crime that no one has ever committed before on this episode. Yeah, one that is going to be hilarious and never been committed. So
how do you get to that point though? That's so foreign to me.
And
getting to a point where you're just like, I have 6 weeks of shit I've got to do, but then once that's over, you guys wait and see. You're going to find me drooling in a chair.
And I'm going to be so happy about it. It's not even
dripping out of my asshole.
Dripping, just pouring out of my every orifice.
You can actually take the drippage coming out of my ear and lick it, and you'll trip for like 3 weeks.
You're going to be tripping balls. It's basically mescaline is what comes out of my ears. Pure mescaline.
And it just drips out of my ear.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine.
But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
with a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
with a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
And now back to the show.
So 2003-ish, early 2000s, journalists start hearing rumors about drug use around there. The team might have a problem. A lot of guys are using both recreational and rumors of performance-enhancing drugs as well. None of these guys look like they're roiding, by the way. I don't know if they have a weaker strain of it down there, but it's like they're cut as much as guys who like work in fields are cut, but they're not like. Fuck, that guy's...
They're not jacked.
Guy's not jacked. Right. Yeah, it's one of those
they're
things.
They're trimmed down. You can see muscle definition, but it's not like fucking bulging shoulders.
They're 5'10", 170.
Look,
that's what it is.
The NFL looks... they're fucking roiding.
Oh, God, Jesus. They're all on HGH.
You look at Derek Wolfe on the Denver Broncos, and that man, his neck looks like he has Down syndrome.
Yeah,
he's so fucking
There's
wide.
still weird gray areas in their HGH testing.
Ridiculous.
And they know what they can take, and they fucking take it.
Derek Wolfe is on something for sure.
And it's a wink and a nod because the league knows if they didn't take that shit, they wouldn't have a league because those guys would be too hurt and go. They'd be too injured all the time to keep going. So they can say they hate it, but they know what they're doing. And
it's a terrible thing and what it does to their body in the long run. Yeah. But he's cashing in and making so much money for his family.
I was just going to say, he's making it so his kids aren't poor. That's what he's doing. He's making generational wealth, maybe. The problem is the guys that don't make generational wealth get 5 concussions and are limping around trying to work at Costco when they're 31 years old rather than being a millionaire. And they're just like a gimpy guy now.
Because Derek Wolfe crushed him with all his pill regimen.
Exactly, man.
His neck, I'm serious. It looks like the side effect of Down syndrome.
Oh,
it's
I've seen
fat.
It's
his
crazy.
neck is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
And his forehead, his face, he's a menacing man. He looks like Latimer from the program. Remember that's what he looks like.
He does look like
looks
that.
like
He's got
put
that
his
level
face
of
through
roids.
a fucking windshield.
No, he looks like he belongs in No Holds Barred somewhere, fighting in one of those bar scenes. Journalists here, like I said, they hear about the drug use, but it doesn't matter for him. He is on the All-Australian team 6 times in his career.
Really?
He's 98, 99, 2001, 2002, 2005, 2006. So that's all-star team, I guess, here.
By the way, I'm not bitching about Derek Wolfe.
No, I get it.
I want him to take more because the Denver Broncos are fucking terrible right
they're terrible.
now.
They need it.
And they need him to fucking sack people.
They need people to get goddamn roids and whatever they can do.
Take more, Derek.
Do it, Derek. So early 2005, there's an incident at the Metro City nightclub in Perth. Okay? There's some kind of gang confrontation, and it's a lot. There's a whole It has nothing to do with Ben Cousins, but it does have something to do with him because he knows these guys. I have the whole court thing.
Is that a nice
whole,
place, the Metro thing?
Yeah, it's like an upscale nightclub.
Anything in America named Metro First is garbage.
Metro
like
City
Metro
North.
PCS,
Metro
Center,
Metro's bad.
Metro fucking light rail, the Metro bus.
Yeah.
Everything Metro here is a bad thing.
This is Perth. It's backwards. Remember, it's upside down.
Okay.
They go to this. It spins the opposite way.
Thing.
The train spins the opposite way, Jeremy. Now it's beautiful.
And then metrosexual means you go get your fucking toenails done.
And every state's panhandle's really nice there too. So it's just the opposite of over here. So I know all the people's names and their gangs and what they were fighting about, but it doesn't goddamn matter. And this guy committed so much fucking crime, we don't have time for it. But there's a gang confrontation. People he know. One gang member was stabbed. And another one was shot 5 times.
Jesus.
Both survived, though. This was serious. There's video footage of it, too,
what was the
taking
fight
place. I don't know.
No
gang
idea.
shit, whatever. Who the fuck
knows?
Who
owns the Metro?
Stepped on something. God damn it, who knows? So but there's footage of this, too. You can see the footage of this all breaking out in the fight. And it looks like Tupac's casino fight,
Fantastic.
except it's in a hallway in a basement. So it's down under. It's a different thing. So and it's a funny thing is that's actually a story over there that a gang member was shot and one was stabbed. Like over here, they'd be like, who cares?
Yeah, that's Friday.
Did they kill any old ladies?
Right.
No. Okay.
Who
well, we
gives
don't
a
care
shit?
then. Yeah. They're like it's a story.
Gang
a shooting.
on gang violence.
Oh my goodness.
Who gives a fuck?
Well, Ben Cousins and a teammate were both there at the club, but not with those people. But they found out later on when they investigated the people that involved in the altercation, they found in their phone records communication with Ben Cousins. So they were like, let's talk to Ben Cousins and see. So Ben Cousins, regardless of having no affiliation with the actual fight and not being near the fight, he is still, like the captain of the football team there being hauled in to be questioned over a gang violence that he might know something about. So that's really...
He's Australia's Michael Vick.
That's kind of, that's kind of what it is, except I don't think he has any pets at all.
Right.
He's just a dickhead to himself. So, he's questioned they about the phone contact, but there's never any charges or never anything like that. But there's a lot of... the press is really attacking him for his connection to underworld figures.
Really?
That's a big deal to them.
Hilarious.
Can't be hanging out with gangsters.
Really?
And they're all over him for that shit. He has to have a press conference at one point just to go... Everybody, chill the fuck out. And he says, quote, as captain of the West Coast Eagles Football Club, I'm extremely disappointed with the public perception of my continued association with people who are regarded by others as underworld figures.
Okay.
He said, I'm pissed off you're even fucking saying that. And he doesn't even call them underworld figures. He says, regarded by others as underworld figures. That was a very carefully crafted statement to not piss off his friends, too. Don't call us underworld figures.
We're not underworld. We're everywhere.
Now, in the documentary later on that we'll talk about, he's shown hanging out with known criminals, like guys who have been, have long records that are known as like gangsters.
He's kind of a dipshit.
Yeah, he's a dipshit, exactly. And this is how stupid he is. He's just like an American. This guy should. I don't know how. I swear he's faking his Australian accent. This fucking guy's American. He's such an asshole. He has to be American. Like there's no other way. There's no other way this is possible. They show his manager, not of the team, but his personal manager, trying to talk him out of hanging out with these people. But he says if he stops hanging out with his mates, he'll lose his identity. That's what he says. If I don't hang out with my mates, I'll lose my identity. You're going to lose your fucking sponsors is what you're going to lose, and your money.
You're going to lose your livelihood,
idiot.
You dipshit.
Yeah, the team owner is pissed.
Of course.
Yeah, he says he'd like the players to be squeaky clean, and he, especially the captain of the team, and he doesn't understand.
Because the owner likes fucking money.
He likes money. He wants his guy to be marketable and his team to be marketable.
Right.
And he says he doesn't understand why Ben keeps getting himself into all these issues. Well, he loves drugs. As many drugs as I can get myself into.
Annihilating.
Enough
to
just annihilate. And I watched him say it. That's not a written quote.
I'm going to annihilate myself.
He's like, annihilate. Like, he's like, his eyes are like if somebody said a big steak, a big juicy, just like that's just annihilate myself. He's like, oh, the ass on that, like he's found an ass he really wanted to grab onto.
I'm annihilate
myself. So,
did you ever say that about yourself? Because I used to say it when I was young. Let's
I
get
don't think I said
annihilated,
I'm
guys.
not a real annihilate guy when it comes to myself.
But we were talking about
hey, let's get a
booze
nice
and weed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, hey, let's get a nice buzz and sit there and watch a movie kind of a guy. I'm not really an annihilate
That's annihilating,
guy.
bro.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
that's
like,
killing
hey, let's
a night.
get a little buzzed and we'll kind of chill out for a bit. So we'll catch up on some shows on Netflix. That's my fucking.
We're gonna annihilate our recommended file. That's what we're gonna annihilate.
That shit. So 2005, he plays in 24 games, which is the most in his whole career that he plays in a season. He gets 24 goals, so a goal a game, and 11 behinds on a league-leading 391 kicks.
Excellent.
So he's active. He's out there. He's doing his thing. He's very active, and I only say that because he won an award that year, so I figured you'd want to know why. Yeah. He wins the Brownlow Medal, which it's the Charles Brownlow Trophy, better known as the Brownlow Medal, informally known as Charlie, because it's the Charles Brownlow Award. It is awarded to the, quote, fairest and best player in the Australian Football League. The fairest. Snow White won it 1 year, and then the next guy, Ben Cousins the next. It's basically the MVP.
Yeah.
Voted on by the officiating field umpires.
Oh.
So that's another
thing. That's how they know it's fair.
That's how you know it's fair. Yeah. It's the most prestigious award for individual players.
That's a brilliant idea.
It is. Because
they
watch.
They know everybody. They know who's a dick and who's not.
Yeah, but they don't want it to be like, well, then I can't talk shit to the ref because then he won't vote for me and it'll be a fucking whole thing.
That's a good point.
Fucking here. Over there, they're all respectful to the refs probably, whereas over here, it's just, they're all going to argue with each other. Yeah. The refs are dicks. The players are dicks. We're all dicks. So, the most prestigious award, though, he is at this point called the Prince of Perth repeatedly. He's the Prince of Perth. Everyone loves him. Drug use getting way worse.
Really?
Oh, boy, does he love drugs at all. He loves drugs so much, man.
Love it.
So much.
I can't wait.
He says that alcohol was never a big problem for him. It's all about the drugs. He's never a big problem. His cousin said, Melanie is her name, said that if he was into drugs one night, that's what his whole night was about. Nothing else.
Nuts.
He'd have certain friends that were his drug friends, and he'd hang out with them, and it was all night, and he would be into it like if someone was into working out all night.
Yeah.
He's doing drugs. We're going to do as much. Let's strategize how I can get as much shit in my system as possible.
Like working out.
That's what he did. Like, I got to do legs and chest today. Yeah. So I got to do, that's what he's doing. He's like, I got to fucking stuff as much ecstasy up one fucking thing. It's ridiculous, man. But on the field, things are going very well. Like we said, he's the MVP, basically. The 2005 West Coast Eagles go all the way to the finals series, which is like their finals. Yeah. That's their championship series versus the Sydney Swans.
Okay.
Very tough name for a football team.
There's one called the Rabbitohs. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
But the Swans?
Yeah.
That's like a tall, thin, breakable, where the cockatiel's taken. I'm a pussy. Couldn't get the Nancy dancers. What the fuck is that?
At least be the Black Swans. That movie was fucked up.
Nope. Swans.
Just the Swans.
The game is very close, and West Coast loses a very close game there. Okay. So he's not a champ in that moment, but MVP and so close to the end. Okay. He also wins Western Australian Sports Star of the Year award. So he's sitting on top of the world. Let's say it now, Jimmy.
Yes.
Grace. This is Grace right now. He's happy. Everything's good. Still got problems.
In 2005,
but he's overcoming them. That's Grace.
Grace is 2005 when he's doing mountains of drugs.
Mounds. That's Grace.
Yeah.
Coke all over his face.
Great stuff.
Gets an award. Going into the second part here, the father says, Brian, his father said, quote, I should have known, and I think most parents that have a family member that ends up in addiction, by the time the parents find out, you know you're in real strife. Yeah, no shit. Ben said he thrived on the drama. He liked it. He liked the fact that he would do a bunch of drugs and he would fuck up, and then the press would write about him and people would talk shit about him, and that made him want to try harder on the field and made him. He thrived on this cycle of fuck you, I'll do this, I'll do what I want, and you fuck you, and I can play harder, and I'll do it. He thrives on this.
That's a weird.
You cannot run that forever. That is it's going to burn out.
Problem.
You're going to burn out doing that. No one can do that forever at all. Basically, he said in his mind, if he could perform at the highest level, nobody could say shit to him.
That's true.
Hey, I just won the fucking MVP. You're going to tell me I can't do a bunch of fucking coke in the offseason? Fuck you. I know what I'm doing, obviously. And who's going to say anything? That's the thing.
I guess the
not
opposite
even
in
a problem
America
yet.
is Tim Tebow. Everybody's saying you can't be religious and a virgin and be great at football. And we were right.
Yeah, true. At least 2 out of the 3. I'm sure he's religious, but he's fucking terrible at
Tim
football.
Tebow should maybe get a coke habit, Tim, because it works.
He'd be going. He'd be going. He'd thrive on the drama.
He'd be playing.
Now, February of 2006 is his first real incident here.
Okay.
Now, in Australia, they have what's called a booze bus, which is like a mobile DUI center.
Oh,
here.
okay. All right,
they have
all right.
like a truck and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
pull people. It's like a road stop, and they make everybody go in and breathalyze.
Sounds much more fun.
It's
than
a
what it
booze
really
bus. Because if you look up booze bus,
Yeah.
it comes up like party bus,
Yeah.
party bus. You can do this, you can do that. Lots of lights, all this shit, music, and then in Australia you get busted by this thing called a booze bus that takes everyone to prison. So it's like way different.
Everything in Australia is opposite.
At first,
It's
I'm like,
all
how did he
opposite.
get in trouble on a booze bus?
Right.
You can do anything you want on those
Yeah,
fucking
you
things.
can
Unless
finger your mom on that
Yeah,
bus.
you can. You can absolutely. I believe mom fingering is encouraged on a booze bus. I believe
I'm
that's what they
pretty sure
say.
you can.
Music, food, dancing, fingering your mom.
Absolutely.
That's
Finger
what-
blast your mom right while she bends over a fucking brass bar.
That is terrible, by the way. That's one of the grossest things you've ever said, and it's very funny, though. I enjoy it a lot. Thank you. So he's pulled over by this booze bus.
Yeah.
He's with a friend of his and his girlfriend. His girlfriend's in the front seat. He's got a friend of his with him. He's in a Mercedes. Officers approach. He and another man jump out of the car and run away.
Okay.
Run away. They run down the alleys and side streets and leave the car behind. Not only the
course.
car, his girlfriend sitting in the passenger side of the car going, Ben, what's going on? And the cops are like, who was that? And I don't know. Jesus Christ. A police official said at the time, because he takes off, a police official says, quote, he was the person driving the car, because they asked this police official, why do you think he ran away? They said, well, he was the person driving the car, and I think maybe it's up to you to ask Mr. Cousins why on earth he would run away. How the fuck am I supposed to know? And he said that in a very polite Australian way. Now we have an in
Because
their
he
own
saw
words.
the booze bus. That's why he ran.
That's why he ran. And let's find out. We have it in their own words. He'll tell you exactly why he ran. He has no shame.
All right.
All right. In their own words, quote, getting caught by a booze bus is career threatening. I just had to take off. When I took off, I took off. I wasn't messing around. I couldn't tell you how many houses I jumped through. I was jumping back fences. I was on top of roofs.
Sweet Pete.
I took off across the river. I reckon I got really close to being halfway over. It was a long swim. I'd been 10 or 12 hours on the drink or what have you, and I started to get pretty tired. And I thought it's as important as it is that I get away, it's not quite as important that as not going under. So
he swam away.
He turns
ran,
back.
He goes over a lake.
Ridiculous. Fucking idiot.
And he fucking braved the Australian outback for Pete's
yeah.
sake
Who
to
knows
get away
what
from
kind of
this
fucking
shit.
snakes are in that thing?
And then he turned around
Everything's
and braved
poisonous
it
over
back.
Yeah, he went less than halfway back, and he said he walked down the shore for like 1,000 meters, just kind of walked in waist-deep water down the shore, and he found a closed restaurant.
Yeah.
So he banged on the door and asked to use the phone.
Yeah.
And the workers came out, and the guy who let him in said, hey, you're not Ben Cousins, are you? And he said, no, mate, of course not. Don't be crazy. Like, why would Ben Cousins be covered in river water?
I get mistaken all the time now.
Why would Ben Cousins be crawling from the river like the creature from the Black Lagoon to ask to use your phone?
Who just
In the middle of the night, shit-faced, hammered, with the police chasing me. No, of course not.
exhausted from boxing crocodiles?
Just went for a swim in the river, and you know how that goes, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, so that was pretty
They
interesting.
fought off kangaroos to get away from the booze bus.
Fuck, man. So the incident, this causes huge uproar for him to step down as captain of the team. They want him down. Public media, the media especially, is really pushing for it. The team says at first, they say, fuck you, we do what we please, but if it doesn't die down, then you know how that works. We've seen that a lot of times. We stand by our player.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy from the fans. And they go, well, fuck that guy. Okay, let's look at
You guys are right. Bye, Kaepernick.
Yeah, so totally. So February 20th, 2006, he has a press conference and steps down as captain over this. So they're not messing around, though.
Over the booze bus.
Over the booze bus. Because I can't help but think if he would have just got arrested, it would have been way less of a big deal. He could have been like, I made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
It's totally stupid. shouldn't do it, never happen again. But by running away over rooftops and trying to swim across a river, now you look like an asshole.
Right.
Now it's way dumber than just getting arrested.
Charles Barkley got arrested for getting a blowjob while drunk in a car at a stop sign in Old Town Scottsdale with Steve Urkel in the car. Jaleel White was in the car
That's amazing.
too.
That's a great story.
and then 2 weeks later, he got a fucking Taco Bell commercial. You stay in the car, you
stay
get
in the car
arrested,
and you shrug
and
your
you
shoulders
admit you did
afterwards.
something
You go,
wrong.
"Nah, I
And
don't know.
and you go get a
I'm
Taco.
not perfect.
And the Taco Bell commercial was a catchphrase of the box that rocks.
Oh God!
Where you get
Barkley though would say, "I'm not a role model." So that was his shtick.
Right.
This guy is, "I'm a role model.
Right.
Look at how shiny my teeth are." Like,
but if you want to
buy
know,
this product,
if you want to know if a box rocks, you ask the guy that pays for hookers.
that's
at 2
true.
in the
He would
morning.
know. That guy knows
That
what
guy
box
knows
rocks.
all the great boxes.
Or the not so great boxes,
Right.
more likely.
The
Let's be
ones-
honest here. So,
Actually, I think he said that she gave the best blowjobs. That's why he came back to her. He came back to her all
he was
the
a
time.
recurring
Yeah.
customer.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. So wow.
Jaleel White had to watch.
He sounded like he was sentenced to it. Like Jaleel White got arrested for domestic violence. He was sentenced to watch Charles Barkley get a blowjob.
Get the best blowjob on her
in a parking lot in Old Town Scottsdale. Sorry, Jaleel, it's the law. It's like, oh man,
You sir may fuck off.
who, me? And then he gets in the fucking car.
Did I do
Did I do that? And he fucking.
Do I have to
Oh,
watch that?
Jesus Christ. My God. So before
Horrific.
the 2006 season, Ben makes a statement to his team. He gathers everyone up and he says, I promise to not be a fuck up for the rest of the season. Because at the time, he feels like he'd lost prestige in their eyes.
Yeah.
So he was energized to stick it up everybody's asses, basically. So he had a good season, 22 games played, 20 goals, 13 behinds. So that sounds great, as we've ascertained so far. That's a pretty
It's a
good
lot of
thing.
points.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah.
So they make it all the way to the 2006 series finals again as a team. So this is really going, hey, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
They once again the Sydney Swans. Obviously,
Sydney's
that's
good.
a strong name, I guess, in the end.
Shit.
This time they win a close
right.
one. They win it. They win the championship.
Fantastic.
So now he's bulletproof in his mind.
Yeah.
Now he can go out and do more drugs than he ever thought of doing because
and he's
we
going
won the
to.
championship.
Yeah.
The whole thing before that he didn't like is his whole. He says this repeatedly forever in his life: is I'm only hurting myself.
Yeah.
Why can't I hurt myself? What business is it of yours if I hurt myself?
I mean.
But then they started saying you were hurting the team before. And he was like, I'm not fucking hurting the team. How fucking dare you say I'm hurting the team? So that's why he's like, now say I hurt the team. Say I hurt the team now that we won a championship. Couldn't hurt him that bad.
How did I hurt him?
How did we when we're the champs?
Right.
Rumors are swirling about PED, performance-enhancing drug use around the team with a few of the Eagles and also mainly just drugs in general.
Yeah.
But there's no like Barry Bonds on the squad. There's no guy like, look at the head on that fucking guy. Like none of these guys. They're skinny white guys basically. Ben denies any PED use. He said he would, as a sportsman, he finds that repellent that anyone would do that. And he is very much into the game, but I think he would do whatever to get an advantage.
Performance de-hancing.
Yeah, exactly. He says, even in the documentary, he says he never took drugs on the day of games or even the day before the games. Like I said, he was constantly. He didn't do anything that would fuck up the game. That was his whole thing. He says at this point he wants to stay out of the media. He wants to not cause any more waves. He wants to just work on his life, work on his drug issues, get his shit together, and just be cool for the off season. You know, be cool for the summer / our winter. So December 5th, 2006, he's at the Crown Casino in Melbourne, which is staying out of trouble. He's arrested for public drunkenness. He says he was on no sleep and had been on both coke and ice for a few months.
Jesus.
And about the last
a few months,
and since the end of the season, since the season ended, imagine the binge he gets to go on after you win the championship, and basically hadn't slept in like 5 days a week.
Jesus.
He's been on a bender for a week, and he says, I was on a bender. Like he was just like, oh boy, like that was a good one.
Oh boy, did I.
The cops asked him his name at the casino, and he said Ben Cousins. It was a male and a female cop, and the female cop said, Ben Cousins doesn't look like that. And so he said he lifted up his shirt and said he did a week ago. Like, fucking, I'm a mess now, but I was fine a week ago. So he's arrested for public and drunkenness there. Christmas of that year, he's going to a family gathering, and his cousin Melanie is driving him.
Yeah.
And she makes him stop the car before they get to the house so he can get high because he can't go in without getting high, basically.
Wow.
For the first time, I'm on his side because this is a family holiday.
Yeah.
I don't fucking blame him for that. Who doesn't need drugs for that shit? I'm sorry.
What kind of drugs, though?
I don't care what you put in me. If I'm going to a family holiday, you know how I am, dude. Imagine having to talk to 30 fucking people.
Yeah, but did he have a problem because of it, or?
I mean, yeah, it's a problem. Yeah. He's out doing a bunch of coke.
Was
but
there
still.
an event after he had to do all this coke?
Well, yeah, he was going to a family Christmas
party.
No,
I mean, did he go to this family Christmas party and now he functions and is great?
Well, now he feels better anyway. I don't know how well he functions.
Or did
he's
he get arrested
jacked
there?
up. No, he's at his family's house. Luckily, he never gets arrested at his family's house. Do a bunch of coke, go in, get through. Grandma's a bitch sometimes. Right. I get it. I understand.
He didn't break a wine bottle over grandma's head?
No, did nothing like that. Right, no domestic situations. Cops were not called. 2007 season, he starts practicing less.
Yeah.
He's not quite as obsessive about the practice. He starts accusing other players of training too hard to intentionally make him look bad.
2007?
2007
28
season.
years old.
Yeah. It's which he's getting tired and a lot of drugs, and his body's starting to wear down a little. He's not in his absolute prime. When you're 22, you can do a bunch of coke and then go out and run for 2 days and try to swim a mile across a river. That's fine. When you're 28,
it's like,
calm it down there, pal. Yeah,
maybe I'll do a bump.
Yeah, start. So what they do here is he starts practicing less for the 2007 season. And at one point here, he only plays in 7 games in the 2007 season, has 3 goals, 3 behinds. So the beginning of the season, pretty much. So what ends up happening here is he's just starting to be more of a flake. At one point, there's a drug test he's supposed to take, a league drug test.
Yeah.
And he doesn't show up for the drug tests at the team facility.
That's not good.
The team can't reach him at all. He's just on the lam when he's supposed to be taking a drug test. Which
is going to fail it.
Well, and if you skip out on the drug, you're obviously running away from the drug test. They can get a hold of you any other. This is 2007.
Right.
You got a phone. You can call him.
Sure.
So they suspend him for a while here.
Yeah.
They suspend him. He goes on a fucking bender, boy.
Yeah.
Whoa, now he's got nothing to do.
No
and he's pissed off. And, oh, man, he's got a lot to prove.
Plenty of reason to do it.
He's got to prove to everyone just how much coke he can stick up his fucking nose. He's got to prove to everyone here. So he loses contact with everybody except his father and an ex-player named Maine Waring, who goes by Manny. We'll just call him Manny. He was a good player forever. Now, Manny had a history with drugs before.
Yeah.
He's trying to help Ben now. They're older than him. Manny and his wife take Ben to their beach house in Perth to get him sober enough to go to rehab.
Okay.
That's how fucked up he is. They're like, he's going to run away from rehab.
He can't even go to rehab right now. He's such a mess.
So let's get him to a level where we can actually put him in a rehab. He needs to. That's like working out to go to the gym. He needs to sober up to get to rehab. Like he's got that sort of thing going on here. Hold on. I got to eat some stuff to go out to dinner. Wait a minute. Like
you need push-ups and core before we get you to the gym.
That's exactly what this is. Like let's sober up his core and then get him out there. Sober core Ben Cousins here. So what he ends up doing here after his huge bender and wanting to get back into the game, obviously because he's suspended, he goes to rehab for 28 days in Los Angeles.
Oh, one of those.
He decides to go to L.A. for one.
Right.
And there's 2 sides to that because actually I heard one guy in the documentary talk about both sides of it. He's like, on one side, he's got to go there and it's to a celebrity place. It's expensive and all that. On the other side, he's extremely famous here.
Yeah.
And he can't get a good rehab experience.
Right.
I don't think they have quite the celebrity rehab like we have here there. So you're going to be in with a bunch of other people who you're not going to get the right experience.
Yeah.
So that nobody knows who the fuck Ben Cousins is in a rehab in L.A.
Right.
They don't know who the fuck this guy is, and they don't care. He's just a guy on a bunch of coke.
To them, he may as well be a producer's son. They could give a fuck.
They probably think that's exactly who he is.
He's sitting next to fucking Lindsay Lohan.
Jacked up white kid on a bunch of coke.
Right.
Producer's son.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Sorry about you wrecking your BMW.
Yeah. Admitting addiction and seeking treatment was seen. It's funny because I looked up. God, I did a lot of research on this shit. I looked up. He warrants later on several academic papers.
Really?
I feel like, and I don't know this for a fact, but drug use in Australia is not the same as it is here.
No.
Especially in 2007. It was still not I feel like it was like here, like in the 60s or something, in the 50s. Like they don't understand.
It's like a novelty.
It's really weird. Like they've and an athlete that throws their career away and is a criminal because of drugs isn't really prevalent there. Okay. It's really not. Like,
well, I mean, they don't have many athletes.
They don't. But here, if we had one team, fucking 8 of them would be in prison at some point. I mean, it's just the way it works. But there, it's not like that. Here, I found in this one academic paper about it, they talk about the difference between America and Australia with drugs. And they say, quote, admitting addiction and seeking treatment was seen as a positive step in America. This contrasted with the more negative Australian societal view that looked down on people for suffering drug dependency. This was the perception that Cousins reported to the researchers. Cousins' opinion came from his troubled 2007 trip to Los Angeles and then came back. So he went here and he said, oh, wow, they treat you 100. It's a totally different thing. There, it's like the 80s with drugs there. Like, he's on drugs. What a scumbag. They should just all be in prison. Right. It's just drugs. It's drugs. And everybody drugs should be in jail.
It's the Reagan administration.
Yeah. Just whereas here, we're like, fucking calm down.
Calm down.
Yeah. If you took that twice, you'd be hooked on it too. So relax. Fucking calm down.
Also, how many people do you know that are on drugs?
Exactly.
You know
Let's fucking help people out here. Right. Yeah. There, it's a little bit different.
But are we really that, do we really condone it that much?
It's not a matter of condone. Well, no. In general culture,
do we
most people are fucking ignorant douchebags who just see it as, I think most people just see it ignorantly as just like, they're on drugs, so that's a crime, and they're a criminal, and we should put them all in jail, and then I'll pay for it and then complain that my taxes are too high. Dumb fuck. Hey, dummy, guess what jail does? It costs money.
Right.
This is what I mean. Whereas in our fucking, over here, I feel like in the medical, at least in the treatment side of it, over here, it's we get it
so that it helps save us some cash later on.
Well, over here, I mean, we get in treatment. We take the people in and we don't call them, "You're a piece of shit. Stop doing drugs." Like we try to actually heal it.
Right.
Which I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the best way to do it. I'm just saying from a common sense standpoint, to complain about people on drugs, want them in jail, and then complain your taxes are high is fucking insane and you're stupid.
Well, it's better to have somebody that's missing all their teeth and track marks and fucked up veins having a job contributing to society than it is to have that person sitting in a fucking gutter.
Yeah, exactly. Now, in April 2007, they're going to let him back, but there's some contract guidelines for him here in the next month. Number 1, no contact with certain undesirables, which are the gangsters he hangs out with.
Right. That's the underworld.
Underworld, exactly. Good way to put it. Yeah. Regular drug tests, public statement of drug problem. They want him to go out and tell everyone he's got a drug problem, which is super. I don't understand how that fucking helps them.
That's the public apology.
That's and a public apology.
What? And
they want him to go out and say, not only am I sorry I fucked up, but I'm a huge, disgusting drug addict pig, and you should all look down on me. That's what they want him to do.
That's terrible.
Which I don't know how that's going to help. He thinks he's only hurting himself and doesn't want to apologize for shit. He'll say he does drugs, but he's not saying he's sorry for it. That's his whole thing.
I mean, it's in the vein of like comedy. Like if I make a terrible joke somewhere and it gets huge publicity, I'm not sorry for it. I'm just not.
Yeah,
and I'm never going to be.
If you think it's funny.
Yeah. If I find it funny and I think it was creative or clever enough, I'm not sorry.
No.
Listen, that's not hurting society. Never mind. This is a terrible analogy.
You're
because he's out there being a fucking menace, running through the woods and shit.
It gets worse, too. It gets worse. He's
running from the booze bus.
He's a dangerous maniac, this guy. Let's find out here. Only hurts other people too. Let's get into it here. But the team publicly is saying all the nice things. We're not pressuring him to do anything. One said, quote, he needs to be left alone to deal with this very serious situation. And I think the focus on the need to punish him further when he's already under an indefinite suspension is very unhealthy. Yeah. And like they're all into that. They're really, really trying to make it seem like we're not pressuring him. It's just a suspension so he can help himself. Right. And we're concerned about him. But in reality, they're very much pressuring him to apologize publicly, very, very much. He says he gets up there and gets a press conference and he says, quote, as you're aware, I've been in an as you're aware. That's arrogant, by the way.
You all already know.
As everyone knows what I'm up to all the time. As you're aware, I would see like, in case you're not aware maybe or something, just as you're all aware. I'm sure he's talking to the press, but it sounds cocky to the public. I've been in an overseas rehabilitation center for the last month, undergoing treatment for a number of personal issues, including illness as a result of substance use. Okay. And then blah, 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 horse shit. but that's all he would basically said. He says once he got out of rehab, he trained harder than he ever trained before. That was like, now he's really got to prove shit, because he had to tuck his little tail between his legs. For the first time, he had to admit he was wrong. Right. And much as he didn't want to do it, he had to come out and go, I apologize for my actions, rather than going, I don't care, fuck you. He had to actually do it. Rip his shirt off and throw a beer bottle against the wall. He had to actually be a human being here.
I like that he had to say overseas treatment center, which in America, that feels weird for them to call us overseas. We're not overseas. You fucks are overseas.
Well, we're overseas from everywhere. You sons of bitches are. Everyone's overseas from Australia, for Christ's sake. It's just sitting there in the middle of the sea.
New Zealand's even overseas.
Yeah, everything is.
But we're not overseas. We're where life starts and stops, you fuckers.
Yeah, goddammit. Don't you know that? Duh. Jesus Christ.
That's the arrogant American statement.
That's called American sarcasm right there. For all you Europeans that might not know sarcasm that well. That's called good old-fashioned American sarcasm. This place is a dump, and we know. So, July 21st, 2007, he makes his comeback in his comeback game versus the Sydney Swan Silly Billy Birds, whatever the fuck they are today. He plays 8 games that year. They're in the playoffs versus Port Adelaide, and he fucks his hamstring up bad.
Really?
You see the play. He's like running, and he just falls down. He's you can tell when somebody tore up their hamstring. Has to get carried off the field. If his foot touches the ground, he's like, oh God, Jesus. Like, it's one of those where I felt bad for him. That looked like a rough injury. I'm sure it's brought on by coke in some way, shape, or form.
Sure is.
October,
it's a hardening of the muscles and tendons.
That'll do it. October 1st, 2007, Chris Manwaring dies.
Oh, no.
Manny dies. We find out a couple days later that there was a property developer was coming after him for $3 million ish. There's an article that says about it. Quote: "It got nasty toward the end about the lawsuit. The house was in Chris's name, so he got his money back, and then forwarded Russell what he thought was a fair thing, and then he got sued. It's a big deal. But what he ends up doing, they find him unconscious at his home. The paramedics get him talking, and he says he's taken ecstasy and smoked some weed.
Oh, shit.
That's what this guy says he did, but it's much more than that. His father, Manny's father,
dad,
said that illicit drugs were probably involved in his son's death, and he said, I would be very surprised if the coroner did not hold an inquest in this case.
Okay.
So even the father wants to know what the fuck's going on. The father also said, quote, I'd really like to get to the bottom of all of it, just how he ended up in the state he did.
That's dad saying, where'd he get him?
What happened? Yeah, what the fuck is going on? So the investigation, Ben was with Chris the day he died. Chris was binging hard the day of the death. Manny was binging hard. Ben said he saw him with coke, the whole deal. But I will say this in the beginning, Ben passed a drug test the next day after this. By all accounts, he was sober at the time and going to meetings, and not doing drugs. And he said he had a drug test to pass with the team the next day, so he was actually abstaining. This is an investigation by the Western Australia State Coroner, Alistair Hope. That's Australian as shit. Ben said he saw Manny with cocaine on a plate just hours before he died. Manny's wife, Ronnie, asked the police to do a well check on her husband during his drug-fueled bender because she had taken off with the kids. She washed a bunch of his cocaine down the sink and then took off with the 2 kids. Like, this is some Goodfellas shit. Like, get out!
She put it down.
Rossi, 2 R's, nothing but a whore. Sorry, there's nothing to do with coke, but I had to do it. Watch Goodfellas, everybody. God damn it!
It's a good movie.
It's the fucking best movie. So Cousin said he spent his morning at a training session and then took off. They're saying that the parents of Manny don't want his details of the death, the autopsy results, to be made public. But his wife says that they want it out there because they want to end the speculation, and they want to see what's going on here. But they don't want to drag him through the mud. At one point, this woman says, quote, "This is not what they want. They want to keep Chris's legacy, to live in happy memories. It's unfortunate that we keep coming back to how and why Chris died." Well, it's kind of important at some point here. The coroner found that he died as a seizure caused by cocaine overdose. Not a cocktail, because at first they thought it was a bunch of different shit.
Very
he said
rare.
He did ecstasy. It's
very rare for a cocaine overdose.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
it happens a lot. I mean,
does it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never really even heard of many of them. It's usually like
it doesn't build up. It's just one shot, and it's usually a heart problem that you had to begin with.
That makes
is the problem.
sense.
Usually you end up like with the Len Bias guy, the old Maryland player who was drafted #1 overall and died
that night.
He had a heart issue that he didn't know about, and if he got that fixed or was on the medication, it would have been fine.
Just laughed about it. Jesus.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he died that night. No, but like cocaine, it's very rare that one is the one that kills you. It's that you escalate into something or de-escalate. De-escalate? No, it's de-escalate.
De-escalate. Yeah.
You either go up into heroin or you go down into fucking meth, and those are the ones that end up killing you.
Yeah, no, that's true. They rot you.
Yeah.
The toxicology report here said he had 7 milligrams per liter of cocaine in his blood and 50 milligrams of cocaine in his stomach contents.
How many
50
milligrams?
50
in his
milligrams
stomach?
in his stomach. So he's starting the fuck out of it
and
here.
And how much in his blood?
7 milligrams per liter. Yeah.
How many liters of blood are in you? I think it's 9. No, it's 9 pints, isn't it?
Dude,
it's not a lot.
It doesn't matter. We're talking really
That's
technical.
a lot of coke.
That's a lot of coke.
Yeah.
He did a fuckload of coke.
Yeah.
They said that Ben and his female friend left Manny's home about 10:15, and Ben said at the time he appeared to be in good spirits, and Ben said he had no concern for Manny at all. Like he was fine. He was just partying. He was like, okay, whatever. Manny ended up going out in the street and like yelling in the street.
Oh boy.
And his neighbors called the cops because he was behaving in a bizarre manner, and the cops came, and by the time they came, he was unconscious, and then he ended up dying at 12:36 a.m.
Jesus.
Yeah, not terrific here. So that's an interesting thing that Ben was involved in, and then this causes, and this is only important because they talked to Ben, but they don't think he killed him or anything. But this does cause Ben to fucking spin out of control.
Really?
This causes, he goes
his
off.
buddy.
That's his buddy.
Yeah.
He goes off the deep end now. October 8th, 2007, he's stopped in Northbridge, Perth. He's pulled over by the gang task force. He and everyone else thinks the police set him up with the press to fuck with him on this one.
Okay.
He's pulled over. He's ripped out of the car shirtless.
Mm-hmm.
He's shirtless, high as a fucking kite, wearing sunglasses, has a bunch of drugs, all prescribed to him, though. Tons of prescription pills. Also a $20 bill with some coke traces on it, but who doesn't have money in their pocket with coke traces on it from somewhere? Most probably does. Also in the car were 2 young women, described by the police as, quote, scantily clad.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Now he's doing fine.
Yeah.
Jesus
That's a
Christ.
party.
Now he's okay. Yeah, shirtless in a car with a bunch of prescription pills and scantily clad women.
hoes.
Let's do it. He says he was 3 or 4 days into a relapse at this point since Manny died. Basically, he went off the deep end. They end up charging him with a weird drug possession charge, even though he didn't have anything. It's a weird thing. Suspicion of drug possession. It ends up getting dropped later, but it's they arrest him. He's picked up at the station by his father, which must have been a long fucking ride home. Jesus Christ, that's like when you're 12 or something, you get in trouble.
Why can't you just have my career?
Why?
Why do you have to do this?
So October 17th.
What is wrong with you, boy?
Why?
For fuck. How many times did he say, for fuck's
For
sake?
fuck's sake, Jesus. Come on, Benny. So,
God damn it, Ben. For fuck's sake.
October 17th, 2007, a week later, Ben is cut by the Eagles. Now they've had it with him. He's shit canned. Now he loses his job. October 27th, 2007, he's back in L.A.
Yeah.
This time, though, he says he's going to rehab, but he doesn't go to rehab.
The land of coke.
He says he went to get away from the media storm. He's missing while
I
he's there.
want to get away from the media storm.
In L.A.
So I want to
Well,
get
no
away
one
from
in L.A.
all,
cares about who he is.
I want to
though.
get away from all the cameras.
Well, no one in LA knows who he is. No one knows who he is, though.
Yeah.
Fucking Peyton Manning can go land in Perth tomorrow and nobody would bother him. They wouldn't know who the fuck he was. They'd have no idea who he is. Who's that big fucking goofy white bastard? They
Who's
wouldn't
the guy
care.
with that huge forehead?
Who's Frankenstein?
Why
head
is
over
that
there?
guy's forehead so many colors?
Yeah, no shit, right? So he goes out to L.A. It does seem ridiculous he's going there, but he's missing.
Yeah.
No one can find him.
It's not just the cameras. There's as much coke as there is cameras in that fucking city.
That's why he's there.
Yeah, of course.
That's why he's there.
Okay, so he goes missing.
His goes missing. Everyone's looking for him. His father gives a statement that he's fine. He's not missing. He's working on his drug rehab out there in L.A. Everything's fine. He tells the media that their harassment will not help with his recovery, and they are hindering his son, and back off.
Okay.
So October 31st, 2007, this is 4 days after this, 911 in L.A.
Halloween night.
911 in Los Angeles receives a call from a woman that says that Ben needs some assistance because he, quote, has been on cocaine for the last 5 days. He's not being violent. He's just scared. That's what she tells the operator.
He's scared, or the person on the call?
He's just scared.
Okay.
Ben's freaking out because he hasn't slept and he's been on coke for 5 days. His mind's fucking mush. Dispatch asks what he's on, and caller says cocaine.
Yeah, I just said
They
that.
ask his age, and he's just like, he's on fucking cocaine. They asked if he's overdosed, and the caller says, no, he's conscious, but he's losing his mind. Just you know, he's out of it. Like, they're just like, he's fucking mess.
It's a lunatic Australian.
Father gets on a flight that night.
Wow.
How silver-haired, middle-aged is this fucking guy?
God.
I will get on a plane tomorrow and drag your coke-addled ass out of California.
I'm going to fly 27 hours.
After I made a complete bullshit statement to the media, making myself look like an asshole that I've on this nice reputation that I've built for 40 years. Thanks, dickhead. This is a silver-haired, middle-aged white man extraordinaire right here.
That's America saying, come get your boy.
Come get your boy. So November 19, 2007, the AFL bans Ben for 12 months.
Wow.
He is banned for a year. He's the first player in history to be banned for a year. That's why I'm saying they don't have the same troubles we do over here.
Doubt.
Oh, we were banning people in the 30s, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
We've been banning people for 100 years over here.
It's crazy.
2008, filming starts on the documentary Ben Cousins, Such Is Life. That's the name of it. That's the name of it because that's the giant dipshit Tupac Thug Life tattoo he has on his stomach.
Get out of here. It says Such Is
in
Life.
That pattern that goes from waist to waist.
That fucking rainbow.
Arc pattern,
Oh, Christ.
It says Such Is Life in the in that lettering.
What a douche.
Yeah, that's Australian for thug life.
Such Is Life. Maybe he thought that's what it said.
Well, I think here it's thug life, motherfucker, and over there it's Such Is Life, mate. I don't know. Like they mean the same thing, though. I think those are the same things in two different countries. Is that possible? Am I onto something? I don't know. So,
Such Is Life.
Such Is Life, man. So, March 2008, documentary starts filming. He claims to be clean for 30 days and doing great. He's good now. Okay. I'm good now. Everything. I'm ready to play again. I'm doing fine. One of the conditions in October 2008, one of the conditions of returning to the AFL is that he passes a hair sample test designed to detect if he's taken illicit drugs in the last 3 months. So he shows up with his head and body waxed and passes the test.
He waxed his head?
Waxed his whole body or shaved his head and waxed his body and then did the test. Sure.
Took his eyebrows off.
Here you go,
eyelashes.
asshole. Yeah. How's that? So December 16th, 2008, his crazy hairless ass is signed by Richmond.
He looks like powder.
He's a fucking mess, man. All pink from being in the Australian sun. Fuck, he's signed by Richmond.
He looks like a fucking newborn mouse.
Oh, my God. The Richmond Tigers sign him. He takes a brief training session, which drew thousands of fans to their headquarters.
Yeah.
He's a big deal still, and he's signed with another team, and the owners are like, we've had double our
our attendance went up really
our
crazy.
fans immediately. They said that's what he's worth to us. He said at this point he was frank about his drug habits. He said he also let's hear him say it. What do you say here? This is about his drug habits, his recovery, and his relationship with underworld figures. Let's find out what he said in their own words. Quote, I'm very grateful to Terry Wallace and the Richmond Football Club for putting the faith in me and giving me the opportunity to resurrect my football career. I think I've used the last 12 months to the best I can. I'm really proud of the time and effort I put into my rehabilitation. I feel more confident now than I ever have, and I can contribute both on and off the field and lead a normal life whilst trying to get the best out of myself without the use of drugs. I think I've copped my fair whack. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying I'm hard done by it, but I think now is probably the time I can move on. He said some Australian shit in there in an Australian way.
But he also threw a lot of religious quotes in there.
He did.
Right at the beginning.
He's trying
the resurrection.
And
there was another word in there too.
He's trying to use all the, hey, look at me.
All the
I'm
right
doing great.
words.
All the right words.
He's trying to fucking just convince people that I'm good now.
Yeah, at one point in the conference, his manager, Ricky Nixon, was forced to intercept probing questions about his relationship with two gangland figures that they really wanted to know about. It's a guy named Angelo Venditti. Cousins admits to knowing Venditti. He says, quote, "Yeah, I know Angelo Venditti. Yeah." He says, "My association or friendship or contact with him has been nothing to do with anything of a criminal nature. As far as I'm aware, I don't think he's been convicted yet, but that's not for me to go into." Because the guy was just released on bail for murder. Well, he was charged for murder, this guy. And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know that guy, but he's not convicted yet.
I don't know
he's
him,
not necessarily a murderer, but I wouldn't know.
2009 begins a relationship with a woman named Malia Teinschiff.
Yep.
Teinschiff, we'll
Sounds
call her.
right.
She's also into meth.
Fuck.
She is into meth.
Great.
But she insists later on that she stopped using when her last child is born, which is in 2014. So for the next 5 years, though, she's going to be mething it up with him. This is Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston.
This
here.
is
This is a
great.
problem. They have 2 children together also.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Bobby and Angelique. Bobby they have in 2011, Angelique in 2013. She also, Malia also has 2 other children from a previous relationship that she's bringing into this, all methy. These research papers, by the way, I found a couple of them. One is called Ben Cousins, and I read this shit, by the way. Ben Cousins and the, quote, double life, exploring citizenship and the voluntary compulsivity binary through the experiences of a drug-addicted elite athlete. Mm-hmm. This is some medical shit by Kate Ciar and Suzanne Frazier. And also transcript of case study by Ben Cousins by Kaylin Murray. How do stimulants improve in performance? Ben Cousins and the use of stimulants. Blah, 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 blah.
And this is Australian?
This is Australian.
Okay.
He's causing them to examine both the physical, like medical, aspects,
the effects,
and the societal fucking that cultural aspects of it.
Ridiculous.
This is crazy. They're going to be teaching him in university courses here. 2010 documentary.
They're going to have to dissect him when he dies.
They are. They're going to have to see what the hell happened in there. They're going to have like one of those. The alien's going to pop out from Alien. 2010. I
hope so.
It is. It's going to be high as fuck too.
Yeah.
Documentary.
Bloody nose.
The documentary is released. 2010 documentary is released. Let's get Ben's opening statement on this, okay? He's in like a white dress shirt looking crisp. Hi, I'm Ben Cousins.
We know.
We get it. What you're about to watch is a documentary we started back in early 2008. At that stage, I didn't know where it would lead, but I thought it was important to have a record of the things that were happening to me. I understand that some of the footage that you'll see in this film is troubling, and it doesn't always depict me in the best light. It's often very raw and confronting. But I feel there's some real lessons to be learned here, and I genuinely believe that some good can come from it for everyone. And I hope that this documentary can send a powerful message to young people, or better yet, all people, about the way drugs affect your life. If it helps save one person's life or helps us better understand addiction, then it will have served its real purpose.
And whoever cut this together had better have cut those segments, like when it says there will be portions of this that will show me in a bad light, like they better have cut away from him to a moment of him fisting one of his fucking players.
No, this is like old school public service announcement, him in front of a blank background. Of course. And then there's some football footage. Exactly. There's some football footage, a few sound bites, and then within 3 minutes of the opening, this includes that opening statement, which took over a minute to deliver, there's footage of him hitting a crack pipe with gusto. I mean, this isn't, I guess I'll try it, tentative. Hey, how do you like this thing?
He's rolling the ball.
He's fucking rolling it like a hardcore street, like he's on the fucking wire, and he just got a new package. Fucking Marlo got the new package. You don't know anything about that shit at all, but yeah, he is fucking ripping this shit up, and he's like dancing while he's doing it. Like this isn't. He's proud of this shit.
He's
like,
having fun.
Yeah, smoke crack. Yeah. Wow.
They should have cut to much more hardcore shit he was doing.
They cut to crazy shit later on. It's a complete fucking mess. That thing. He's a disaster.
We
they
should
show
film
him partying.
a parody of this.
They show him partying, and it's a fucking mess. mess, man.
That ain't nothing. We could do it way better.
No one can party like this guy, man. Let me tell you something.
Believe me, we'll figure it out.
This guy's rough.
We'll make it horrific. We'll have somebody rape a kangaroo.
Well, that'll happen. I'm sure. You know what? That's not out of the realm of possibility for this guy. I'm going to be honest with you. He doesn't remember everything. Well, he doesn't remember how many yards he went through, how many roofs he went on.
Right.
Who knows if between a roof and the river he raped a kangaroo? It's possible.
It's possible.
I'm not saying it's not. His book is released, My Life Story, November 15th, 2010.
Great.
Very little of your life story actually in there, but it's his account. It calls it an account of his double life and what it cost him. It's so fucking funny, this whole thing. It's just, Ben hides nothing, and the result is one of the most remarkable sporting memoirs ever published in Australia. It's like one of their first tell-all books.
They qualified it there at the end in Australia.
In Australia.
They had to throw that part in.
They have tell-all books other places.
Because, by the way, Lawrence Taylor's book is fucking incredible.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it's a
entertaining
tell-all
as
that's
shit.
fucking insane.
This guy is child's play compared to Lawrence Taylor.
Sending hookers to
Oh,
players'
it's the
rooms,
best.
sending over pictures of kamikaze shots
Oh, yeah.
to teams to have them party it up the
Yeah,
night
no, I
before
know
a game.
about Lawrence Taylor's actions
The man
and
was a
antics.
fucking madman.
It's great. And women, they let those women right in, too, when they would knock on the door.
So his tell-all book isn't shit, is what I'm saying.
No,
Just
it's nothing
fucking
compared to that.
In Australia, is
We've
the best
heard
part.
what he's done so far. He's going to talk about running away from a booze bus and getting drunk in a casino.
Lawrence
that is
Taylor's
nothing.
way worse.
I would say so. And this is about to get wow.
Okay.
January 14th, 2012, he is again in rehab for drug addiction, and he's committed to a suburban mental health unit after suffering a drug-induced psychosis. Yeah, he went a little fucking nuts. He said he hit his head in the fall, and he thinks that's what it is. But no, you're just on a shitload of drugs. He was admitted to the Sir Charles Gardner Hospital in Perth, and transferred to a mental health unit right after that. They're like, this fucker's way too crazy for us to handle. Now, March 27, 2012. All right, he's going to go into hiding after this. Okay, he's at the airport. He flew from Perth to Esperance, and this is 7:15 at night. He gets to the airport. Mind you, his wife and son are with him somewhere. He is taken to a private room of the airport. They say they want to search him. They immediately find him, and they walk him right to a room. There's something going on here. They find $1,000 cash on him and a piece of paper with a bunch of cell phone numbers found in his luggage, which is a little shady. An airport worker watching, a guy named Rob Tate, said that it wasn't like a big scene or anything like that. There was a couple of detectives who turned up in suits. When the plane landed, they just walked over to Ben and grabbed him. He said they took him to a nearby room. They closed the curtains, the whole deal. He had been the last weekend with his partner, with Malaya and Bobby, his son. Lately, he's been attending the Drug Rehabilitation Center Teen Challenge. He's been trying to attend rehab. He's trying to talk to kids. He's been trying to do all this shit. Anyway, cousins told them, the officers, that he had no drugs before they searched his. They didn't search him at all yet. He said, "I have no drugs at all." They search his jacket. They find 2 unused syringes, which is not terrific.
It's legal.
It's legal, but shady. He's not a diabetic.
Right.
If you're not a diabetic and you have syringes,
Those B12 shots, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's at that point I question your motives. So they find the syringes. They find $890 cash concealed in a black sock in his bag. When they look a little further,
in a black sock? Why don't you have that in your pocket, you weirdo?
Because he's hiding it, because he doesn't want to have it on him, going through security, because for reasons that we're going to find out. A bunch of prescription medication, but that's all his. That's fine. He's then stripped, and like they do it prison style, they strip him and tell him to bend over.
And cough.
Lift your sack and bend
Squat
over.
and cough.
One of those. And when they do, they see a tissue protruding from his ass.
Oh, boy.
He is asked to remove it.
Get your ass napkin out, sir.
Sir, you have an ass napkin. When they do remove it, they find 4.65 grams of meth in his ass.
Oh, my God.
In his ass! That is a shitload of meth to have up your ass.
He is.
Wow.
It's really not that much. It's a few grams. That's not that much.
To put up your ass?
Putting anything up your ass is too much.
That seems like a lot of meth up your ass. Especially, this is like the like shards of glass meth.
Yeah.
It's not like
no. It's
powder.
Like,
he's got
it's
like
rock
this.
meth?
Yeah, he's got like fucking.
My
It's
God.
ice. He's got shit like that.
Jesus.
It's fucking. Also, too, a napkin? That's your delivery system? You couldn't find anything that you could lube up a little?
You don't have condoms,
a fucking
sir?
napkin?
But then, you know what? Napkins rip, too. How did he do that?
Goddamn napkin.
Did he take the one off the plane?
This is what...
Did he have it in his pocket and he put it in the one on the plane?
That's what... See, this is what I was thinking.
Into the bathroom.
Did he, like, go into the bathroom and stick it up there real quick before he walked out to security? Or did he, like... I don't know how he did it, but, like, that doesn't seem like he put that in, flew with a tissue with ass...
No, he
meth
did
up
it in
his
the
ass.
bathroom on the plane.
Well, by then I would assume it would start to like
coagulate, take your ass liquid.
I would assume it would break down the meth. It would
and start
dissolve
getting
the
high?
napkin, and you'd start,
Right.
you'd start just taking in fucking meth through your asshole, which I would assume would fuck you up. I would guess. I don't know.
Maybe there's only 4.8 grams left.
This guy had meth up his ass. Everybody, that he had a fucking. This is a guy.
There was probably like 10 grams when he put it in there.
This is a guy. Yeah, that's what I mean. It dissolved up his ass. This is a guy that comes from a rich family.
Right.
He's successful. He's the MVP of their sport. Bunch of meth up his ass. Wow, we've never had that before.
That's crazy.
They escorted him to where Malia and
where people go with meth up their ass.
Yeah. Unbelievable, man. He ends up, there's bail conditions. He must report to the police station 3 times a week and remain in his North Beach home in Perth. And he could face, if convicted on this, because they charge him with possession with intent to sell.
Oh.
That's a lot of meth up your ass.
Okay.
And he's smuggling it on a plane, so they're like, why are you smuggling a bunch of meth up your ass? You can't get meth while you're in town?
And where did he come from?
Perth.
So he flew from Perth to Perth?
It's in Perth, I think. I don't know where it is here. But
I was just hoping it wasn't trafficking.
No. Well, that's why it's intent to sell.
Got it.
But he's trafficking within the same thing. So he could face, if convicted, up to 25 years in jail.
Holy shit.
And $100,000 fine.
Sweet Pete, they take it serious.
Wow, they're not fucking around with that.
My God.
Intent to smuggle and all this shit. I mean, that's the maximum of everything, whatever. But still, to have that as even a possibility.
Looming over your head?
Holy fucking shit. He's had meth up his fucking ass and he's sitting in his goddamn house waiting for the... And then he's on the lam after this. He doesn't check into the police station. He runs away. Meth up his ass, and he probably wanted that meth too. You know, he was pissed. He's like, shit, they took all my money, so I can't get any more meth now. It's a lot of meth. Because think about how he thinks of it. He was planning on rocking that meth when he got out of that airport. He was going to just house that shit.
Flashbacks of that pipe in the video.
Oh, he was going to get annihilated with that shit, and now he has nothing. So you know he's fucking pissed off. You know he's pissed. He's out on the street looking for a fucking dime bag of meth or whatever meth. You give me a gram. I don't care. Half gram.
Give me a tiny amount of meth.
Quarter gram bags. I see that. I'll take that. He's wandering around. But after all that walking, he gets hungry.
Okay.
He gets hungry and he smells something delicious and he opens up the door and it's the shawarma man. He's back and he says, how is it you've come to arrive here? Why are you here? Why you come here? I hear what? No. I come from shit country. Bad thing. You come beautiful from the beach and you put things up inside your lamb hole? Why? Lamb hole, yes, that's why you eat the lamb. It come out the hole. So it's your lamb. That's all I eat is lamb. I don't know. But I make for you if you want. No, I don't make for you. Signs say closed. You have lamb meth up your ass. Why? Why you do that? Why? Signs say closed. You go now. You go. Okay, I make for you. Never mind. Okay, and poof, and then in a poof of shawarma, he's gone. So's the restaurant, and Ben's staring at it like a long closed down building. Where did it go? Poof. 2012, April 2nd, a lawyer for Ben Cousins. This is when he's starting to, he comes back and actually appears now. Yeah. He goes to court. A lawyer says that he will not go to jail because of the offense, because the amount he was caught with was too small to go to jail, 4.56 grams of meth. So they're saying he's trying to get it down to possession here. He's requesting the removal of strict bail conditions, which requires him to go to the police station 3 times a week, which does seem
so
excessive.
much.
That's a lot. Basically, the lawyer said the fact is he's not going to get a prison term. That's all he's saying.
That's nice.
He removed the judge removes the reporting conditions and set bail at $2,000 with, just come back and see us again sometime here. As he left the court, he was pursued by 40 journalists, cameramen, photographers. They're wondering why you had meth up your ass.
He's not Charlie Sheen, though.
No, but meth up your ass is particularly hilarious. That's not just like meth. Like, dude, they found that up your ass, dude. That's funny as fuck. What are you, smuggling it into prison?
Charlie Sheen has done some wild shit, too, and they do that to him.
April 2012. Cousins is pulled over by police in North Beach and arrested after they discover weed and a meth pipe in his car.
North Beach, Miami, or North Beach?
No, Perth.
Wait, that's South Beach. Never mind.
Yeah, it's South Beach. Nice.
Fuck, I'm like, what? Is he in America?
About a week later, he's arrested again, pulled over by police at 7:20 in the morning, and arrested again. He's released on bail to appear in court next week, but then he was arrested again the day after that for breaching his bail conditions.
Fuck, man.
It's insane. So he appears in a video link, and they talk about it. They talk about how they found He basically looked in his car and he had a Dolce & Gabbana shoulder bag where they found the pipes, and they also found a plastic bag with a shitload of weed in it with like a chip clip on top. He had a chip clipped, which I find hilarious.
In a Dolce & Gabbana bag.
Yeah, all that stuffed in with a meth pipe and a weed pipe.
That's unbelievable.
Unreal. So John,
that's like a rich lady's beach purse.
Yeah,
and he's got it loaded up to get annihilated with a
fucking
wrecked.
Where's that meth?
Chip-clipped weed bag.
Jesus, we didn't have any meth. He must have been on his way to get some.
Yeah.
June 27, 2012, he's been fined $1,000 in court after pleading guilty to 3 drug charges. This is for the airport thing. Okay. That's what he got for having all that meth up his ass, $1,000. $1,000 fine. That's it. The charges he pled guilty to are possession of methamphetamine, cannabis, and possession of a smoking implement. The court, they basically said how the police were tipped off to him, and they were. He was bringing. What they were doing is he was tipped off not about the airport. He was tipped off by the police were tipped off by the rehabilitation center that suspected him of bringing drugs into the rehab center and selling them. That's what they said. So that's brilliant. So they tipped.
It's like Girl Scout cookie salesperson standing outside of the fucking standing outside of the weed shop.
Cousin's lawyer said that Ben acknowledges that he made a huge error in judgment. He's reengaged with rehabilitation. He's undergoing constant urine analysis.
Sure.
Constant. That's just a funny word. Pee in the cup again. I can't anymore.
Constant.
I don't have to.
We haven't seen you for the last 10 minutes. Pee in another cup.
Pee in another cup.
We want to make sure that you're not high right now.
Jesus.
Constant urine
analysis.
Jesus.
The fine was $800.
That's when you know you're a fuck up.
Yeah,
constantly how does he not know at this point?
When anyone is forcing you to pee, you're a fuck up.
Yeah.
I can pee whenever I want.
Anytime
I feel like
Let's
it. I
go.
don't have to, and I want to. It's up to me. So he's fined a total. The fine is $800, $66 in court costs, and $125.70 for destruction of the drug implements, apparently, to destroy them.
70 cents.
And 70 cents.
Right.
They broke it down to weight, probably. Yeah. We have it in their own words about this whole situation. This is in July 2012. All this shit just came to a head. In their own words, quote, "Things are going well. Obviously, I have had some issues to deal with, but I've got to a point in my life now where I can look forward and positively. I'm in a rebuilding phase, and hopefully some doors can be open and kick on, because it's obviously really important to the family life that I'm trying to lead." Ben, he's fine. I'm good now. Things are going well. I just got busted with meth up my ass 2 months ago. But other than that, things are going great.
I've been busted with meth up my ass and arrested like 11 times since.
But it's fine.
Things are going well.
It's going well. June 2013, they had the daughter. Him and Malia have the daughter. March 12th, 2015, he's driving erratically along Preston Point Road. He fails to stop.
He's a nightmare.
He's driving recklessly. He fails to stop and fails to agree to a breath test after finally being apprehended, but that's not all that happened.
No.
They ended up he had a slow speed chase. He did an OJ where the police called him on his cell phone and were concerned that they thought his vehicle was stolen. They didn't think it was him in the car driving like an asswipe, so they called him and they're like, Ben? And he's like, yeah?
Yeah.
They're like, you're not in your car, are you? He's like, fuck yeah, I am. And they're like, okay, never mind. We're going to catch you now.
Never mind, we got you.
You want to stop or what here? So he told the police that he was on his way to a family emergency and wasn't going to stop for shit. So at the corner of Gill and Solomon Streets, they finally got him to stop and get out of his car and arrested him because he wouldn't take a breathalyzer and he was clearly fucked up and there was no emergency. He spent several hours in the Fremantle police station, and then somebody came and picked him up. When they asked him if he had any comment, he just said no and was driven away at 3 a.m. So that tells you a lot there.
Jesus.
March 15th, 2012. This is 2015. This is 3 days later, Jimmy.
My God.
He is assessed at a mental health facility after being caught behind the secure fences of Perth's Special Air Service Regiment.
What?
He's climbing over military installations. Holy shit. He's apprehended at the Campbell Barracks in
Sweet
Swanbourne at about 11 p.m. on a Saturday night.
On a Saturday, he's out doing
yeah.
drugs and getting crazy and climbing over a military installation's
Fuck
wall.
yeah, they're Campbell
He's
Barracks. Imagine just getting down. Where do I go now? Jesus, picture it like Stripes, and he just jumped over the fence. They say the spokesperson for them said no defense personnel were involved in the incident, and they're looking over the security as to figure out how the fuck this guy did it.
Why the fuck?
So he's assessed in the mental health ward again and has been discharged. That was March 15th. March 23rd, he has stopped. Police stop his car around Shreve Road in Canning Vale, and his erratic behavior leads police to form the opinion that he needs medical attention. He flees on foot, jumps over a fence of a home, and climbs onto the roof of the house and starts saying, I'm not coming down, I'm not coming down, and screaming crazy shit.
Did he live tweet it?
He did not. They finally get him to come down and into custody. The reason why they were looking for him in the first place, he should have live tweeted.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
Reason why in the first place they were doing this is because he was seen not only driving erratically earlier, but also for some reason stalking around a Sikh temple, taking pictures of shit. He's taking pictures of Sikh temples and driving erratically.
What a fucking weirdo.
Who knows what's up his ass at this point? A police spokesman said, quote, he was clearly unwell and as a result not arrested, but rather taken to Armandale Hospital. They feel bad. The cops feel bad for him at this point.
They're taking pity on this fuck.
Yeah, that's the lawyer said, quote, what I can say now is he's doing well. He's working. He's doing fencing work in Cali, which he goes to do.
That's what he was doing. He was climbing over that fence.
That's it. He was practicing.
Yeah, checking to see how secure it was.
No shit. Apparently, a friend of his owns a fencing company, and
he's out there selling fencing.
Who knows? He's just the face of the place. You go out there, and you fucking be at our party and everyone will come to meet you type of thing.
Will they still, though?
At this point, maybe to just get a look at him. Charge 2 bits a gander at this point.
We got a listener that sent me pictures and video of Ryan Leaf speaking to an audience, and it was packed.
That's what I mean.
The audience was full.
And he was a fuck-up. This guy was actually a good player.
Right.
Leaf sucked.
Leaf was the worst.
He was terrible. So June 26th, 2015, he is in court for the March 23rd incident. Wow. They find him guilty of property damage, trespassing offenses, and also saying that he had a mental illness at the time of his offenses. He's fined $800 again, $150 in court costs, the whole deal. It's a complete mess. July 29th, 2015, he's in court for the slow-speed chase.
Good God.
He says he was having delusions that his family was being held by police when he drove recklessly and failed to stop and refused a breath test. So he pleads guilty to charges
that's
in
called
court.
You're fucked up, bro.
That's good. You're fucked up in the head. You've been on a lot. He's probably been up for 4 days and he doesn't know what's going on.
But
he's
annihilated. He's annihilated. He's not having fucking
clear, concise thoughts.
He's just not. His
thoughts are a little,
He needs to not do drugs and drink.
That'd be helpful. Let's give that a shot.
Jesus.
He's fined $2,679 in total, and license is suspended for 10 months.
Oh.
And he also has a treatment order where he has to actually get treatment. In that thing also, the funniest part of it is when he got out of the car finally, he didn't turn it off or take it out of gear, so it rolled 50 meters into a tree. That's what they said. Which I thought was fucking amazing. That's goddamn amazing.
And then they're like, would you take a breathalyzer? He's like, I don't think there's a need, sir.
Well, then he took the breathalyzer later. He had a 0.00 reading. He wasn't drunk at all.
No,
he was
he's not
just
drunk.
crazy.
He's just on drugs and
coke
fucked up.
and probably fucking hasn't slept in 4 goddamn days. May 2016, Ben's former... They've broken up now. Former girlfriend here, Malaya.
Right.
She takes out a violence restraining order against him.
Oh, shit.
So she is scared of him.
Now he's violent.
He's violent. Well, Jesus Christ almighty. Think about it, first of all, how embarrassed his family is right now. How embarrassed is his father?
Fuck.
His father was so proud.
Yeah.
He's following in my footsteps.
Yeah.
He's the best. They all love him. He is just a fucking low.
Ugh.
His father, his poor mother, even just all his siblings, everybody. He is, he's ruined teams.
Yeah.
He's pissed them off.
Yeah.
Police have to just think he's hilarious at this point. He lied to a worker about who he was. His kids. He has 2 kids. He's doing all this with 2 children. I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy. All these people. But not nearly as bad as I feel for Ben Cousins, Assistant Director of Facilities and Operations for the University of North Florida.
Oh, shit.
Go Ospreys.
Yeah.
That's their, whatever.
Go ahead.
No, Ben Cousins, Managing Director at Cousins & Cousins Architects in London, UK. Ben Cousins, who's a staff reporter and multimedia journalist at the Chronicle Herald in Halifax, Nova Scotia. B. Cousins at herald.ca if you want to follow him. Ben Cousins, he says about himself, quote, I'm a games industry veteran specializing in games monetized with virtual goods and delivered online. And he is in Stockholm, Sweden. Ben Cousins, PhD researcher.
Oh, shit.
He's just like our guy, right? Ben Cousins joined Bristol Rugby ahead of the 2013-14. He is there. He's working with them and getting his PhD in exercise, nutrition, and health.
How about that?
But you Google, that's sad sports, and he's in it.
And health and drugs and stuff.
And one more who's really just like our guy, because we really want to make it. Ben Cousins, and about himself, he says, quote, I am currently a postdoctoral researcher in genetic functional analysis and applications program at MSRI in 2018. I will move to Columbia University as a postdoc in the IEOR department.
My God.
Just like our guy.
What a hero.
It was either that or a bunch of coke.
That guy
decide.
put all that energy into doing what he's doing with that long-ass title.
And you Google him,
it
jerk
pops
off.
up.
Coke like a motherfucker.
Jerk off.
June 27th, 2016, the police come because Ben was in the middle of the street directing traffic on a highway.
God.
On a highway.
On a highway.
Okay. At one point, witnesses reported that he tried to hop on the back of a stranger's motorcycle.
Jesus.
And multiple police vehicles also he was trying to jump on. And also the police helicopter had to come and look for him. He ran away and hid out with the window washer guys, like under an overpass.
Sweet Pete.
There's
the fucking homeless guys?
Yeah, there's a quote here.
Vagrants?
Check this out. The guys who wash windows here where you get off the freeway said he was hanging around with them for about 3 hours, but he appeared to be incoherent. Window washing vagrants are going, this guy's a fucking weirdo. You have problems, man. These guys come up to you and go, can I wash a window? Like, Jesus Christ, calm down.
And how pissed must they be that windshields wash themselves now? Like, the car industry worked them out of a job.
A witness said, quote, he was really lost, confused, and making no sense at all. He was just out of his fucking mind.
Jesus.
And then finally he was arrested near the Quanana Freeway around 5 o'clock in a bush.
Ouch.
He went and hid in the bush. It's very, very sad, man.
That's homeless.
That's fucking bad. He went and said.
That's bottom of the barrel.
He was taken to the hospital. They got an ambulance, not a police car for that one. They were like, come on, guys, let's just do this.
Jesus.
A spokesman for the hospital said, quote, we haven't seen any members of Ben's family as of yet, but it's obviously just a tragically sad situation.
No doubt.
You bet your ass.
It's almost over.
He's released from the hospital about 24 hours after the incident. There's a crazy story around this time about he has to come home from one of his many court appearances.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a ride. And so a journalist, a News Corp journalist, asks him if he wants a ride, a woman named Sarah Blake, and she gives him a ride. And during the 10-minute car ride, this is what he tells her.
Oh, boy.
When asked about where he would like to go, where she needs to take him. This is how he said his whole thing. This sums up his whole life in their own words. Quote, "It's hard to know where to go. I am living out of a backpack at the moment. I move between 3 mates' houses, spend time on different couches. There's a lady I knock around with these days who I stay with. Otherwise, I just move on to another place. Well, it's a bit of a facade, really. I am having a bit of a tough time." He's a fucking mess.
That's the fucking ending statement in whatever book he writes.
That's the one there.
That's the sentence.
Yeah, the reporter said, quote, "Ben is still there, but he's troubled. There's a lot of people who are really worried about him. I walked away from that conversation feeling like everybody is extremely, extremely concerned about him." I would say so.
Yeah.
October 18th, 2016. Police end up at a home in Canning Vale at about 1 p.m. where Ben Cousins is arrested and charged with 2 counts of breaching a violent restraining order and 1 count of possessing 8 grams of methamphetamine.
Oh, shit.
Lots of methamphetamine.
Now he has more than he had when it was up his ass.
Yep. This is for the restraining order that Malia had against him. He violated it, and he was at the house. Every time this is so funny. His lawyer in court for the restraining order thing, his lawyer said, quote, "He's actually in a very good place at the moment." Every time in court. Every time.
Jail.
He could be dead on the floor. He's like, he's actually doing great right now. It's fine. This is not a coma. It's very... Even in the press said he said this as Ben was noticeably agitated and fidgety and like moving around a lot,
scratching sores and stuff. And he's in a great place. He's in a really great place right now.
The police prosecutor said that he's not agreed that Cousins wasn't a flight risk and granted bail. Only condition is he must stay 50 meters away from his ex-partner's home and not contact her, apart from text messages to arrange visitation between the kids.
Children, right.
Visits. It's weird because visits have been carried. He's telling him visits have to be away from the home, and Ben said that he's been in regular contact, but the visits were mostly in the front yard or in the cul-de-sac in front of his ex's house there. Right. He said, "quote, I've just been seeing them in the front yard or in the street."
Yeah, he's got nowhere to fucking take them.
Yeah, well, and the magistrate here says that the parents are going to have to sort it out. He's like, "You guys are going to have to work this out. If you're going to have access, it's going to have to be outside of that address," he tells him. And he says to him very specifically at the end here, "If you breach," quote, "if you breach any of your bail conditions, you will be arrested." Okay? He knows not to breach his fucking bail conditions. His other lawyer also said that Ben was, quote, "in a very good place." So they just say he's fine and everything's fine. I'm good now. He doesn't even need to say I'm good now. Right. They think he's good now. Okay, let's get through this run here because this is a crazy little run here at the end. November 23rd, 2016. There's an accident. Ben gets in an accident with a truck. He gets driving in a truck. He has minor injuries in the crash. He's treated at the scene, and then he's transferred to the emergency department at the hospital. The truck driver involved didn't require any treatment, but he had just missed a court date 2 days before that. They find out he's at the hospital, and sure enough, he is...
He's arrested.
He's end up in court in a locked up in a like a guarded room, basically waiting to get out of there so he can be arrested. His ex here, Malia, said that at one point she just wants him to be locked up in a psychiatric ward. She said at one point because the children and I had to stay in refuge, so he couldn't find us. That's how bad it got. I couldn't deal with him anymore. Shit. He was violent. He can be quite aggressive when he gets cross. He behaved so far from the person he is. He's crazy.
They're so polite.
They are, right?
When he gets cross.
When he gets cross,
who talks like that?
Australians and Brits. He's fined $2,000 for breaching the restraining order and drug charges. And the judge warning him: any future breaches will result in a mandatory prison sentence.
Oh shit!
Know that's out there, Ben. Please. January 31st, 2017 is the first day of his school at his daughter's school. He attends and then comes within 50 feet of Malia in breach of his order. The next day, he did the same exact thing, attended the school and shouted the names of his children over the fence, like, "Hey, Bobby," which just is so fucking sad. The next day, the deputy principal asked Cousins to come to his office and talk about this and say, "Why are you doing this?" 3 days later, at a church attended by Malia and her children, Cousins is alleged to have again breached the 50-meter restriction by tapping her on the shoulder at church to say, "Hi, I'm here." Stop doing it. Wait till you hear about how many times he texted her. The next day, Ben allegedly phoned her repeatedly while she was with the police, then came to the house and shouted from the street.
Good God.
He wants to go to prison. Prosecutors say they're charging him with aggravated stalking from this, by the way. Relates not only to that, but it also relates to numerous other things of intimidating actions and things like that. The worst part of it, though, just in the bombarding her with thousands of phone calls and text messages since October. We have the monthly totals, but at one point on one particular day, he contacted her 103 times in one day.
Wow.
103 times. That's
my goodness.
Way too many. She says she's fearful for herself and the safety of her children because of his addiction. She says he's erratic and unreasonable, of course, obviously. February 23rd, he is arrested again in Perth. He's charged with drug offenses. This is when they finally arrest him with all this, charge him with aggravated stalking because he has drugs too, and they arrest him again. Obviously, he doesn't go anywhere without drugs. Smoking implement, aggravated stalking, 7 counts of breaching a violence restraining order, and driving without a license.
Good God.
A lot of fucking charges,
he doesn't
man.
understand.
The court hears that he contacted or attempted to contact his former partner 437 times in October, 542 in November, 307 times in December, 341 times in January, or 345 times in January, and 371 times in February.
Fuck.
Wow. Holy shit. And he got arrested on the 24th, so he had a few more days left to keep doing that here. He says he wants to plead his case. He says that why he was within 10 meters of her. He said that he's been having to hire rental cars so that that the ex can transport the children because she doesn't have a car. He says that he expects to go to jail for the breach of the restraining order. She said, quote, she told the court, quote, he would just turn up at my house in the middle of the night and bang on the door. Which, wow, and then at another point, and she does a public interview, she says, quote, the kids need you, we need you, come home to us.
Well, what?
So,
which
she
is
just
it?
Wants him to get healthy and then come home to us, but he doesn't get healthy.
This is why he texts you so much, because you give him mixed signals, too.
Well, maybe, but also I think she's saying get clean, I think. I don't know what she's saying.
But she also wants him around the kids.
I'm sure. Wants a father for him. March 20th, 2017, his lawyer said that they have an opportunity for a spot in a residential rehab program, but the prosecutor said they're seeking a prison sentence, and that's not going to happen. He's been in custody since the February 24th. The problem why they won't let him out is while he's been in jail, the phone was tapped, and he told his father he could quit whenever he wanted to, but that he didn't want to stop taking meth. He said, quote, I have a bit of gear and it makes me feel normal. I am not going to stop. I don't want to stop. And then he goes to court going, I will go out and be clean as a whistle. And they're like, no, you won't, asshole. But his lawyer has the balls to say these calls were made in an earlier time he's in prison, and now he's feeling much better.
Now he's in a good place.
He literally says he no longer feels that way. He's in a good place, and he said he wants this to happen. He's very concerned he's going to lose his rehab spot, the whole deal. The judge has a little word for him on this whole thing. The judge said, quote, your record will fast catch up with you. That will be the greatest fall from grace of all time. You are no use to your children if you are completely wrecked because of drug issues. Very fair.
That judge has been listening to this show.
Exactly. I would say so. Shit. March 28th, 2017, this is the stalking. He pleads guilty to 11 charges, including the stalking, aggravated stalking, drug possession, the whole deal. He appears in court for sentencing. The court hears all about how he's been using 2 grams of methamphetamine a day.
Holy shit.
It's a shitload. And had a, quote, entrenched drug addiction, which was, quote, the root of all his problems. Yeah. So they're trying to say, don't send him to jail, just send him to this rehab. It's all meth. It's all meth. The judge here has a different way of thinking. The judge says, quote, it is very serious offending and it must be treated as such. It could not be seen as a momentary lapse on his part. There needs to be a general deterrent for this sort of behavior. It's incredibly disappointing for a person in your position who can provide inspiration for others to dabble in illicit drugs. It's a tale of despair and missed opportunity and a knock-on effect to those who love and admire you. You, sir, may fuck off. sentenced to 1 year in prison.
Oh, shit. He just got a year?
Just got a year.
Oh, boy.
1 year in prison. He'll be eligible for parole in 6 months.
All right.
Backdated to February 24th.
Okay.
He's also fined, blah, blah, blah. His lawyer says it's disappointing, especially when Ben has made the decision to go to rehabilitation. But, Ben's doing okay.
Yeah.
He's fine now.
He's in a good place.
He's good. He's in a good place. In a good place. He said this is the first time that I've seen Ben in a long time that he's clear thinking. His mental health is very stable. It's a shame this opportunity is missed for him to go to rehab. During this, when he gets sentenced, there's a huge tropical cyclone down there that's fucking shit up, really did a lot of damage. Tropical Cyclone Debbie. It's basically not a story that day. They're in the middle of it. It's been nothing but that. He gets sentenced. Press just
fuck
says,
the cyclone.
Fuck that shit. Some people are drowning. We got to talk about this shit. They do that. He's in prison. So now he's in prison. He's knocked that off the table. May 2017, he's assaulted by a few inmates in prison.
Shit.
At first, it's reported that he refuses to play in a game of footy with them, and they're pissed off at him. But then it comes out later that somebody stole his coffee mug, and he was pissed off, going around talking shit, and people took issue with that.
Yeah.
And a couple people tried to jump on him and fucking jack him up a little bit. You know how it goes.
A gram of meth is $80. He's doing $160 worth of meth. I mean, that's American street value. It's probably a little bit more
on a
there.
fucking island over there. Yeah.
So you're talking about maybe $200, $250 a day that guy's got to do. That's
Jesus.
How the fuck? That's a lot of dick sucking.
He's a
That's
mess. Imagine what a mess.
Of whatever he's doing to get that money.
Man, June 2017, Malia, her interview is released publicly here. She said she said she had never seen Cousins buy or obtain drugs, but frequently used cocaine and methamphetamine in front of her. Also with her, as we know from before. She claimed that at the end of their relationship, he was being, quote, inappropriate in front of the children, and she discovered he was cheating on her with other women, which is the main problem, I feel like.
Problem.
She said, quote, he chose drugs over everything. I know he loves his children very much. They are his life, but the way he goes about things, he needs to understand that there needs to be a process to see the children, and if he wants to see the children, he needs to give clean urine analysis, and then they're all his, as long as he's clean. Wow.
How shitty is that? You've got to take a drug test to see your kids.
That's rough, man.
That's brutal.
And there's a lot of people like that. She says about the kids, I'm certainly not going to let allow anything else to hurt them. We've all been through enough. Enough's enough now. Yeah. Fair. She's hoping he's going to come out a changed man. She said, but she's not holding her breath. She said you don't want to give up on people, but you never know here. Who the fuck knows? She does say also that she thinks Ben's going to be very upset by the interview. She says, quote, I know he's humiliated by what's gone on. Certainly I know he'd be sitting in there thinking he's probably hating me to bits, thinking that I've done this to him, but the drugs have destroyed him.
They have.
That's fair enough. Yeah. She says he doesn't realize how unwell he is and he needs to change, which is fair. Now, in 2015, she was charged and pleaded guilty to possessing drug paraphernalia with a prohibited drug or plant in it. Basically, she refused to answer questions about that. She said, quote, those charges have been set aside. And then she said, that part of my life is behind me now. I'd rather not talk about it. She claimed she was trying to hide his
dope
shit is basically what she said, which it might be true, honestly. July 29, 2017, Brian Cousins, his dad, is hopeful that his son wants to turn his life around when he gets out on parole. He said, quote, I'm probably as hopeful as I can be that he's talking seriously about how he can conduct his life when he gets out and try to make a change in his life. There's still to be done. He's trying to do that. He said, I'm not for 1 minute convinced that this will happen, but he's just doing some good things and has said some good things.
Not for 1 minute.
That he wants structure in his life. He's got two beautiful kids. They haven't to this stage been enough for him. I'm just hoping that there will be good news ahead, but we've a long way to go. Ben Cousins, August 10th, 2017, will not be eligible for release from prison at the end of the month, like he should have been, because he failed a drug test in prison.
He got drugs in prison. Who keistered him in?
He was probably him. He was eligible for parole at the end of the month, and he couldn't just muster that, man. Couldn't muster that. It was a drug-free prison, so they do drug tests on all the prisoners. He failed it. The lawyer says, quote, I can confirm that Mr. Cousins' parole application has been delayed, awaiting him to complete further rehabilitation courses, which are now only becoming available to him. Basically, he's happy to go to rehab. Well, he should stop fucking smoking meth in jail. That would help a lot.
Unbelievable.
He does say that they insinuate for a minute that maybe Cousins is involved in smuggling the drugs in, because how else do you access them? And the lawyer says that's absurd and unsubstantiated. I happen to agree with that. I'm sure he just got it from some guard that smuggled it in every other prison.
Somehow he blew somebody for it.
Absolutely. September 20th, 2017. He comes into court. He has a big beard and shoulder-length hair now.
Oh, no.
This is for the car crash that he was in with that truck. The judge tells him, the magistrate says he's lucky to have not killed or seriously injured someone because he smashed head-on into a truck while high on meth. High on meth, head-on into a truck. That is fucking terrible here. He's fined $1,200, ordered to pay $2,295 in chemical analysis fees, and had his driver's license suspended for 12 more months.
Jesus.
What a fucking mess.
He's in the cycle, man.
He's in the cycle. His lawyer said that he may be forced to serve his full sentence because there's no program. The programs had been delayed for rehab. The magistrate asked Ben, "You're not getting out by then?" Because this is a magistrate for another case. And Ben just shook his head and said, "No, unfortunately, he's stuck in there." The lawyer said that he's taken and embraced a job offer from his old employer, but wouldn't elaborate on it, which is the fencing thing. The failed drug test came 2 weeks before he was eligible to get out.
Unbelievable.
2 weeks. Good guy. You could have done all you wanted when you got out.
He's just going back to that whole, like, once this stretch is over, I can just fucking binge. And that's what he did right there.
Absolutely. His
Annihilated.
Annihilated. His lawyer said that, quote, despite the incident, at the time that that he is, quote, drug-free and in positive spirits. Never stops. Can't get enough of this drug-free, positive-spirited guy? You can go to www.panmcmillan.com and get Ben Cousins' My Life Story, the book, for $35.99.
Fuck that.
There's also on Facebook a We Still Love You Ben Cousins Facebook page. 12,687 likes on that puppy. A lot of people still love Ben Cousins. Also on eBay, a signed white Puma sneaker cleat. A Puma cleat, game worn, full autograph. $499 plus 60 shipping.
That's a lot of meth.
Ace, that's a lot of meth. He's gonna annihilate himself on that. Finally, a signed 2007 Australian football card is signed by him, $149.95. His autographs, there's not a cheap one out there. They're expensive as fuck. I don't know if he just doesn't sign a lot anymore. If he just said, fuck this, I'm not signing anything.
Nobody probably is looking for him. Nobody recognizes him.
I don't know what it is, but that was a crazy goddamn story.
He'd have to walk around saying, I'm Ben Cousins. Does anybody want my autograph? Ben Cousins?
Yeah. That's a crazy goddamn story. Like, that was a story where I was like, blah, blah, blah.
That's a lot of fucking crime.
I looked at him about a year ago and I was like, this is good. This is going to be a good story someday. And then I look back at him recently and I'm like, holy shit, he's blossoming. He's blossoming.
He really has come into his own.
This is great, man. So if you like that story, the thing you can do is get on iTunes and you can give us 5 stars. That would be so appreciated there. Also, if you loved it even more than that, you can go over to patreon.com/crime and sports. You can make a donation or go over to PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. Speaking of ways to get a hold of us, you can do it at that email address or Instagram, Crime and Sports, at Crime and Sports, Twitter at Crime and Sports, Facebook.com/Crime and Sports. Let us look at right now. Jimmy has a list of the most goddamn heroic, wonderful people that I just love, and I wish I could hug every goddamn one of you. Jimmy, hit us with that list, would you?
Well, that's kind of the plan with live shows, is to get out and see these people and meet them and actually hug them and tell them thanks. So come to the show in Chicago, February, it's December 14th.
December 14th, Lincoln Hall. Get your tickets at lh-st.com.
That's the one. Real quickly, Cat Power had a birthday, or is having a birthday.
Happy birthday, Cat.
Also, the Sap House Meadery sent us a bunch of mead, and it's fucking delicious.
That was cool.
They
Thanks,
didn't even
guys.
ask for plugs or to talk about them.
Dude, yeah, we'll talk about
but
that.
For real,
hey, you're nice to us?
Yeah.
We'll talk about
Try
you.
that
Thank
stuff.
you.
SapHouseMeadery.com. Mike Juden pointed out that Clifford Ation and Mike Nunn both fought Carl Craven, and Carl Craven lost
Kenny
to
Craven.
both.
Kenny
Craven.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
That was fun. That's hilarious.
Carl. Jesus. Anyway, Mike knows that because he listens to every show at least 3 times.
I love you, Mike.
He's a sad fuck. Is
Thank
what
you.
he says. You're not a sad fucker.
He's
Thanks,
awesome.
Mike.
God damn
Appreciate
it.
you, brother. Susan Banks, Ashley Stevens, Koku Gonza Akijajigi.
There you go.
That's the one.
You got that.
Koku Gonza. Thank you very much. I did my best, and I'm sure that was completely wrong.
You tried, Jimmy. That's
listen,
all
they did it
wanted.
on purpose, so they got what they deserve.
They got exactly what they deserve.
Tiffany Daniels, Laura Buchanan, Dana Grayson sent money again. Thank you, Dana. Dana, I appreciate you, brother. It's fucking fascinating when women, black men, and men of the cloth like us.
Yeah, priests and
yeah, that's the fucking hat trick of people that make me feel really good.
Usually
that they approve of my horse
You don't
shit.
usually get those three groups liking the same thing
At the same time, right. That's the point.
So we appreciate that.
So Robert Dye, thanks for the emails and
he's
thanks
a
for
Catholic
giving
priest
us
from
shit.
Oklahoma. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if we wanted to say that much specific about him. I was just going to say man of the cloth, but Catholic priest from fucking Oklahoma.
He knows who he is.
Yeah, he knows.
He's a Robert Dye from Oklahoma.
Thanks
Thank you.
for listening, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. We appreciate it.
Corey Patterson, Matilda, it's got to be Matilda. Hello. Matilda, thank you. John Jones, Joe Jones, that's the one. Chris Ascaraga, right? It's got to.
It's got yeah.
Scott Henderson, Mary Foose, she donates so frequently. Thank you, Mary.
So
I appreciate
much.
it.
God damn it.
Jared
thank you.
Ferguson, Ingrid Stock from Norway. Thank you very much for sending your North Korea cash.
Yes.
Casey Tillery, Devin Ray. It's probably Ray. It's got to be.
Ray sounds cool.
Yeah, it's
Devin Ray. If it's not Ray, pronounce it Ray because it sounds better.
It's a better
cool.
name. It really
sounds
is.
Cool.
Sherry Holland, Diana McCann, Jess Landgren, and Christiane Castaldi
you guys
again.
Are the best. Thank
the two of you, thank you. And Jess loves footy too.
Does
she loves this shit.
She'll hate us after we destroyed it. I think we figured it out okay.
We did our best, Jess.
We tried.
Yeah, we tried.
I put a couple things together. That looks like Don Fanucci. That's not my fault. Sorry.
Thanks, Jess. Love you.
Thank you.
Michelle Seba, John Chiarelli. Chiarelli,
yeah.
Not Chichi. Whatever. That's ridiculous. That's a Spanish booby.
That's
what
great.
that is. Rena Taylor, Claire Natola, James Hall, Sabrina Evers, Holly Listener, MCR Camperman. That's an interesting first name.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anthony Arredondo, Rebecca Gammon. Christiane Castaldi, I said she's going to come to the Boston shows. By the way,
yes, cool.
Siobhan McClatchy, McClatchy, and Siobhan Dugan. Also, there's two Siobhans. Thank you both.
Like those Irish ladies liking us. Thank you.
Lisa White, Sue Bree, Nikki. No, it's Nikki. You fucking idiot. Nikki Thatcher.
Nikki. Is there two K's in there?
Yes.
Oh Jesus Christ! I can't reach you to kick you in the nuts for that one, but that is fucking off the. If it was Niki, I'd give you Nikki.
Siobhan has a B. I'm doing my best to do ethnic name.
I love it, man. That's amazing.
Nikki Thatcher.
Wow.
Katie Finn, Tim Ball, who I believe is Sausage over there on Snapchat. Brett Hinkey, Justin Rogers, Thomas Guitar, Michelle Turner, Juna Listi. I think I nailed it. Senga Robertson, Albertine.
Yeah.
There's a Y and an N together. It's weird.
Yeah.
She upped her pledge. Thank you, Senga.
Thank you.
Joe Hartwell, Dita Vasquez, Helen Collinshaw, and then Jane Greaser. Greg, who sent the email about Nunu Kids.
That was awesome.
Who lived down the street from
yes, I read that. That is fantastic.
And the movie Bebe's Kids had just come out when they were around that time, around that age, and they called that whole family Nana's Kids.
Oh, my God.
They would break, like, the garage door. They had broken down cars. It's a fucking...
They're white trash.
They are.
Like Dexter Manley said.
Bananas family.
You do not have to be white to be white trash, and Michael Nunn proved that last
Pete,
week.
was he white trash?
Wow, are they? I just see an El Camino engine hanging from a tree at some point in that guy's future.
Jeff Cutshaw, Amanda Renee Harris, Christine Quattro, Laura Crosby, Alex Marchi. That's Marchi. Yeah, definitely.
No.
Kenneth R. Garrity does Writings from the Gray. I don't know what that is, but Google it and give that person business if it's a business. Camille Anderson, Jared Ferguson, Paul Boyd, Savannah Showalter, Madison Doherty, Stephen Hughley, Siren Camilla. Chandel Whitney has service members in South Korea.
Oh, cool.
South Korea. Definitely South Korea.
They're definitely not in North Korea, I don't think.
And it's her daughter and her daughter's wife who are fantastic people that listen to these shows also. So thank you. Chandel Whitney's children.
Awesome.
Stephanie and Eric. There's no last names, so thank you.
Fine.
Silver-haired, middle-aged tuxedo mask donated cash, so thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole Cleveland and Joe George, Devin Reznikoff, Nicole Aldrete, Monica Ortiz, Sharifa, Alexa, No. Sharifa Alexis Afreya. Hey, fucking, you shitting me. Sharifa Alexis. I
think it's Mahmoud Abdul Rauf
right,
is what you're going
exactly
for.
That
Denver
name.
Nuggets player from the 90s.
Cassius Clay is who she is.
Yes, that's right.
Steve White, Casey Paquette, Jacob Adams, Alyssa Wells, Adam McWaters, whichever. Adam McWaters, Ginny Burnt, Sarah, Ginny didn't burn Sarah. That sounded like...
I'd say Ginny burnt Sarah.
Ginny burnt and Sarah.
Okay.
Holly Gaston, Becky D.H., William Hatchett, Liam Toner, Wade Brandoner, J. Nathan Couch, Stephen Havens, and Mariki Bergman. Thank you guys. This was a fucking amazing week, and you guys make it all worth it. So thanks for participating.
Honestly,
thank you for supporting us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for telling people about us.
If it wasn't for you guys, there'd be no reason for us to do this except for our own entertainment. Right. So thank you guys so much for everything.
Come see us in Chicago, come see us in Detroit, and come see us in fucking Boston. Let's have some fun.
What if in between those shows and all of this, they might want to get a hold of a person like you?
If you want to find me and tell me that you're coming, find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Follow along, play along. Let me know where you're at. Let me know what you're doing. We can't wait to meet you guys.
Not at all. And I'm at Jimmy P is funny. Follow me there, or try to spell my last name. There's a P in there. It's a little funky, so good luck. But yeah, guys, we can't wait to meet you guys. Come out to the shows. We're going to hang out with everybody, meet everybody. I mean, not that that's a draw to come, but it'll be a really funny show.
Let's drink beers.
And then afterwards, we'll say hi if you care to say hi to us. We're not going to force you to talk to us.
Point us to where your best seafood restaurant is.
Stand in a corner, and you guys can wander over if you want. And if not, we'll just sit there sadly, and then we'll go home, and we'll fly home to Phoenix. But we will eat seafood first.
Absolutely.
Please come out, though, to these live shows. It's good stuff. And that said, guys, it's been a blast. It's been a crazy one, all the way to Australia and back, live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus